Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. However you happen to be watching and or listening to this, I want to welcome you to the latest episode of the Gaming Circle podcast. The podcast where we're missing a co-host and another guest, but they'll be getting here shortly. This is episode 88, the Con episode. Had to say it like that. I'm sorry. I had to do it. All my old Trek heads out there know what I'm talking about. But let me first and foremost introduce my guest, my first time guest on this show, and I'm so excited to have him here before we get into all the other craziness that we of course get into on this show. He is the smooth ninja, the calming voice, if you will, the yin to the yang that is the craziness of Crazy Loot Gaming and Sour Blow on the Xbox International podcast, which you should be watching if you're not, because they're really great and they do really good work over there. It's the man Silent Cypher joining us. How are you doing this morning, sir?
Hey, Kay Asante, thanks for having me, man. It's great to be here. It's been a while. It's good to be
Indeed.
Podcasting with you again. I'm super stoked to see everyone in the chat too. It's blowing up in there, so it's
yes, sir.
It's great to be here. Thank you for the warm reception.
Oh no, absolutely. And you know what? For the few among us who may or may not know exactly what you do and how you fit into this wonderful gaming sphere that we all find ourselves, why don't you give folks just a brief description of some of the stuff you do and where folks can find you?
Right. Well, yeah. So like you mentioned, we've got XBI podcast that we do on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with my brother Crazy Louie and Sour Blow, and also Plume when he's got some time, when he's not too busy with some work stuff. And yeah, besides that, you find me on Xbox, you find me on Twitter, find me all over the social media sphere as Silent Cypher. Usually lurking around some different shows throughout the week, trying to kind of hang out and just enjoy seeing what all the other creators out in this ecosystem are doing. It's cool to see all the new folks coming into play. So.
Yeah. No, and I really appreciate the work you do, and you know, you bring a calming, soothing voice to the organized noise that is the Xbox International podcast. So I always appreciate hearing your takes and what you think, especially about Nintendo. We're gonna talk a little bit about that one too. Yes. But yes. Let me off the top. Let me get a few housekeeping notes out the way. Yes, as I said, we are down a co-host and another guest who will be joining us momentarily. And as they do, I will introduce them and slip them in as well. But I will first and foremost thank everybody that's already in here. We're starting strong, as we always do on this show, and we appreciate that. I will first off say last week I got some notes from folks that say the audio podcast and some of the video also had a bit of static on the line, had a little bit of noise and issues. You should all know we've taken some time. We've done a little bit of upgrades, some cable changes and whatnot, so the sound should be much better this week. And if it isn't, please let me know, because we're tweaking and we're working it out. So thank you guys so much for your continued support and helping me make the show better. So it's always good to get feedback from folks, whether good or constructive. It's all good. I appreciate that. Also, I should also note that, you know, as I said, we'll be joined by our guest and co-host soon. We will try and keep this show a bit concise, because today is the day, ladies and gentlemen, and you'll hear more about that as the show goes on. There's actually a full article about it that I'm gonna read and show you folks about. But today's the day, ladies and gentlemen. If you have not done so, I ask you right now to go to the Wandering Duchess channel, find CIS 2023, and add it to your notifications, because at 1 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time, the CIS 2023 will be coming to you live streamed on YouTube with great guests, great, really mind-blowing stuff that you will be surprised you see on an indie showcase from the community. The Dutch is out there doing great things. So as I say all the time, if you don't like the Keeleys, we got the Dutchies, man. Support the brother. Hopefully it'll get bigger and better every year. And you may also see, you know, some gray beards like myself on there as well. So there you go. Had to put that in there real quick. But okay. So before we get started, let me catch up on a quick super chat, because the brother is always here showing his support. We appreciate him. I see Mr. Joanna Dark came in early with a $5 super chat saying, Sega said the blue rat's not enough. Bring on them Angry Birds. Sega said, forget Sonic Frontiers 2 budget. People want to play Sonic? Here's a Lego toy. See, and Everborn Saga, I see him in the green room. I'm sure he's very livid right now, but he can't respond. Thank you, Mr. Joanna Dark, for that early super chat. Thank you. And I see all these other great community members in here. Slow-mo, I see you, brother. Web Dave, I see the man, the Wandering Dutch in here, getting prepared, I'm sure, for what's to come. I'm looking forward to it. No matter how much news and stories we have to talk about today, I need to make sure I finish up quickly, because at 1:30 it's on. We're gonna get into it. It's gonna be great. I'm seriously hyped for what is to come with that. So you know what? Let me hold on here real quick. Let's, for now, while I get Mr. Everborn Saga in here, because he likes to keep me on my toes and show up right when the show is mid-started. So let us first and foremost talk about some of the games we have been playing. And of course, Mr. Silent Cypher, you are our guest. So what are some games that have been keeping you busy this week?
Oh man, so I actually just jumped into Dead Island 2 last night. I almost said Dead Space 2. Dead Island 2 last night, and I was talking to some of the guys off chat and stuff previously, but man, what a start to that game. I am digging it. I'm really enjoying what they brought. I was honestly afraid, like it's been 10 years in development, or at least 10 years that we know of. And yeah, it's, from what I can tell, that time was worth it so far. Like visually, it looks great. Just the destruction effects on the zombies and stuff. Like I hit someone upside the face yesterday when I was playing, and their jaw popped off of their face and was just hanging.
Yeah, I've seen clips where people just like crush their heads, and you just see it just like disintegrate into ridiculous madness. Like, wow.
Yes. Yeah, I got a samurai sword yesterday, and as soon as I got it, I'm sure I had a very mischievous grin on my face, because my goodness, that game is messy, but it is a lot of fun. I'm just excited to be back at Dead Island. I feel like it's been far too long, and I hope that this means that we'll see more as time goes on in a faster cadence,
So you think that, so in your estimation, the time they took, what was it, almost 10 years, right? They actually, and it changed hands to many developers, If I'm not mistaken, this is Embracer Group, am I wrong?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It was Techland, and it changed hands.
Yeah.
And it looks like this one is this did not turn out into, it didn't turn into a Saints Row type situation. People are genuinely very excited about it.
Yes, yeah.
Cool.
They didn't drop the ball like Saints Row did, unfortunately.
All right, very cool, very cool. Now, let me first and foremost let me welcome in the man who you've been waiting for, because he's here for that slander. the brother that I say sleeps with dogs and as such catches the fleas, Mr. Everborn Saga. What's going on, sir? How you doing?
I have 3 dogs, and not one of them has fleas, sir.
Oh, your volume is a little low. Let me well, you stay the way you are. Let me speak again. Let me make sure I turned you up.
Speaking again.
Yeah, you may want to tweak your volume just a little bit, because Silent Cypher's out here being smooth. You got to keep up, man.
You're sounding really quiet.
Oh man, I feel like we're rehearsing for voiceovers right now. This man over here.
Is it any better?
Whoa.
Now you're doing one of the whole tweaking thing. We got to get you on them cables, bro. We got to get you on them cables. I'm saying. It's gonna hurt your wallet, but it's necessary at this point.
What? How about now?
You good? It's not as loud as us, but you good. We'll deal with you. It's good.
All right.
So back to Silent Cypher. Oh no, please go ahead.
Okay.
You were saying.
No. I was saying I have 3 dogs, and they have no fleas, sir.
Oh well, what I meant though that is on Twitter, but we'll get into that, because I see your tweets are getting progressively more and more aggressive out there these days.
They are. I'm getting more and more annoyed.
I know. That's why I'm like, he's sleeping with the dogs and catching the fleas. This is what's happening to you. He's getting corrupted.
You were gonna say hedgehogs have fleas, and that's where I got him from.
That's a whole different line of criticism that I'll save for the man Joanna Dark. So there you go. So Silent Cypher. Let me finish up with you first. Like, so that's been your whole week. You've been playing Dead Island 2,
Dead Island.
which is funny because Dead Island is based in LA, which is not really an island. Did they justify that somehow?
I don't. They haven't yet. They haven't yet. But
Okay.
yes, no, it's set in Hell A, as they so kindly
There
phrase
you
it.
go. Okay.
And it looks really, really good. Like as soon as you, I mean, I'm not going to spoil anything for folks, but as soon as you get to a house at the beginning of the game, you get to kind of see an overlook of the valley, and as you're looking down there, it just looks nuts. Like, you know, it's like when you first walked out in like Far Cry 4, Far Cry 5, where you walk out and you just see the vast, you see the vast expanse and everything. And you're just like, my God, this is good. Like, it looks really good. I'm really happy that they ended up delivering. I was really nervous, probably for the last like 7 or 8 years, because like you said, they've transferred over time and time again to different hands. I kept thinking like this thing's never going to show up, and
it
they
could have been a
stuck the
Duke
landing.
Nukem Forever situation, which, you know, old heads, y'all know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, you know, I love me some Duke Nukem, but man, every time I try and sit down and play Forever, I'm just like, this is even too bad for me.
It's hilarious. Usually games get better over time. That game got worse over time. It's just hilarious.
Yeah. Well, and you know, I mean, you run into it. I've seen it before too, but it's like obviously the narrative, like people's opinions on things, like things have changed a lot since Duke Nukem was around back in the day, and so some of it just doesn't. Some of it doesn't hold up.
Absolutely. Oh, see, welcome, sir. I see the man slow-mo backslapping here, throwing flowers left and right. He says, I think Cypher should be the next voiceover for the next sad dad protagonist Sony game. You know what I'm saying? Yes, I agree, sir.
Man.
Absolutely.
And that's what the hope is. I don't know if it'll be a sad dad position or not, but as you can see, I am in my audio booth.
Real quick, say boy.
Boy.
There you go. You know what I'm saying? Come on.
Also, can you say coral?
Oh, stop it. What are you doing? You got it. Ridiculous, man. Ridiculous. Anyway. Okay. So besides Dead Island, anything else that you've been playing this week?
Yeah, actually, so I dipped my toes a little bit more into some more Callisto Protocol at the beginning of the week, which, you know, I've been playing for a couple weeks now. I've been kind of just slowly grinding through it. And that game, you know, after all the updates and everything that they brought out for it, really good. Really good. Like, I sure wish this game would have come out like it is now versus what it was when it first came out. Because when I first played it, it was littered with bugs. Anything as simple as just like me going in to change my difficulty and difficulty not changing in the game, it just showing me that it changed, or me saving and it kicking me way back to a different checkpoint, stuff like that. All that stuff's been patched up, and the gameplay is so much better now. Like everything just feels like it meshes the way that they envisioned it. And so it's been fun. It's really good so far. I didn't realize how long that game was. I thought I was actually quite a ways into it, but I think I must have just hit like the first third or maybe the first half of the game.
Wow. Okay.
It's good. It's got a lot to it. It's I thought it was about to wrap up. I thought it was going to be like a 4 to 7 hour experience, but apparently it's quite a bit more than that.
Mr. Everbone, I know you played it. How long did it take for you to beat it?
What game are we talking about?
We're talking
Callisto
about Callisto Protocol.
Like 12 hours, but I was sipping.
And get closer on your mic, sir. I can barely hear you. I know you're stuffing your face. Apologies.
Yes. I said it was about 12 hours for me, but I was kind of sipping the game very slowly. So there's some padded hours on there for me. I don't think it takes 12 hours to do. I think you can do it in like 7 or 8.
Okay, understood. All right, cool.
Okay, so in that case, I'm really slow sipping it as well. So
So how spooky of a game are we talking about here? Because I like spooky games, but to a point, right? Gray heads out there, gray hairs know what I'm talking about. The heart ain't what it used to be. So you know, is this get a wet towel? Like what are we doing here?
There's, it's definitely not into strapping on a Depends or anything.
Okay.
There's a little scare
There you
to
go.
it.
Okay.
There's a little scare to it. But that being said, I think if you played Dead Space, the remake that they brought out, this isn't gonna scare you that much. Like there are moments for sure. Like don't get me wrong, there are definitely some moments that have caught me off guard. But compared to some of the other stuff out there, it's not that scary. It's more action based, especially after you have a moment and you can get your weapons upgrade a little bit. It becomes much more of a like thriller shooter instead of just horror.
Okay. So it might convince me to jump into it. I've had it bought for a while now, but as you said in the beginning, it wasn't in the best shape. So as reluctant as I am to admit it.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute, Mr. Case.
Yes, sir.
I've been telling you about this game.
But you see, I was just about to give you your flowers. You didn't let me. I was about to give you your flowers. You didn't let me.
I'm gonna try.
I was about to give you your flowers, and you interrupted. Before I was rudely interrupted by the Everborn saga, I was about to say,
go back to eating my breakfast.
I was about to say I have it purchased for a while now, but as reluctant as I am to admit it, Mr. Everborn Saga does make a point that you usually should wait until all the patches are in because you get the best deal and you get the best experience. So now that I hear that it has passed the point where all the ridiculous rough edges have been smoothed out, maybe it's time for me to jump in. But you know what? I'll take all that back because he was rude and he interrupted me. Never mind. So okay.
In that case, I'm not playing it.
Yeah, I'm not playing it. Forget about it. But okay, let me catch up on a few super chats that have also joined us. Also, while welcoming Big Mad Mo, Mr. Gerald Mack in here. We appreciate you, sir. Thank you so much. It's Timmy. Well, welcome. I hope 40 is treating you well, sir. The back starts going first. I'm sorry. It's just what happens. And then the knees. It's just terrible. Anyway, we have. Let me see. I thought I saw some super chats. Yes, indeed I have. We have the man himself, Mr. Webb Dave, in here saying, Silent Cypher rocks. K. Asante, congratulations on the new PC is awesome. Thank you so much. And there will be more PC talk. Well, maybe not really here, but those who follow me on Twitter know that I've been upgrading and building a new machine and all this stuff. I finished building it last night and put a few pictures up. There might be some more PC-centric content in our near future on this channel, in addition to what we're doing here. There might be a bit more, hey, this is what PC's about, this is what PC looks like, this is how shallow or deep the rabbit hole goes, depending on how you feel, So, stay tuned.
Pause.
I waited for you. I waited on you for that one. I waited on you for that one. Yes. There's been some narratives that have been perpetuated in the community that kind of rubs me a little wrong, right? People are misconstruing and are making some assumptions that I feel like maybe some content might enlighten people. So I'm working in the background right now, and possibly you guys might start seeing some more PC focused content. Hence the big rig that I built to help me get there. So thank you for the super chat, and thank you guys all for the continued support. It's because of the support that you guys give us that we get to continue doing different things there. So thank you so much. And not to be outdone, we have Dave Ramos in here. Thank you so much for being here, Dave, with a $5 super chat saying that Saturday morning extra indie showcase energy. Very happy to see you on the panel. Can't wait. Thank you so much. This is going to be great. Come hella high water, we are ending this show at 1 because I need to sit in front of my TV with the popcorn and I'm watching that showcase. Because last year we watched it because the brother's doing a show. We need to be there. We need to represent. And then come to find out, he showed you trailers that you only saw there, and then it came on the Xbox showcase, and you went, "Wow, that's wild." Yeah, it was wild 6 months ago when the Wandering Dutch put it on his showcase, but most people didn't catch that. So this time, my eyes are open. We gonna be watching that. I hear there's some interesting guests coming, so and maybe Mr. Everborn Saga might have some other interesting things in there.
Thing happening over there. Who knows?
Yes.
See what happens.
Now, Mr. Everborn Saga, what have you been playing, sir?
Okay, where do we start here? The answer is Tokyo Ghostwire.
Mm-hmm. Actually,
However,
Ghostwire Tokyo, but okay, continue.
Ghostwire Tokyo, sure, whatever. I'm dyslexic. Okay. Now, but I have two Xboxes. Well, three if we count the one for the kids, but two for me. One in my office and one in my room. And so usually I am, I play at night, when everyone's sleeping, and then between meetings I might get a game in the office. So
Yep.
I have chosen my in the office game to be Sifu,
Oh,
which
Nice.
might be a bad idea
told-
because in between meetings you're just gonna be frustrated as hell.
I told myself as soon as I saw the game, because like backlogs are gonna backlog, and it was said that it was gonna be like an actual timed exclusive, not one of those timed exclusives but really exclusives, right? So when it came out, I said the day when it comes to Xbox, I'm gonna buy it. So I bought it, but I didn't know where it was gonna fit in the backlog because there's so much, stuff going on.
Yeah.
And I was playing Resident Evil 4 Remake because I had just finished Quantum Break, which I went back to. So I start playing it, and I'm like, my God,
What a game, right?
I should have played this last year. I should have just.
Yep.
I shouldn't have waited for the Xbox. I should have got it on the PlayStation. It's so good. It really feels like you are in an interactive kung fu flick, right?
They have that old boy scene right at the beginning. It's just crazy.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like the betrayal in the beginning. You have to go train to go take on the boss who's now like moved up in the world, like all of that stuff, like all of that, like you know what I'm saying? It's just that you name the kung fu flick, which I'm having a brain fart on right now, but it is that.
It's
your
the raid.
quintessential
It's
playing.
all of that. It's so good. Yes.
So I'd been playing that in the office, and I'm at the very beginning, but just understanding it made me think, could you imagine if like, and I love Streets of Rage 4, which I still haven't completed yet, but I love that game. Could you imagine if Streets of Rage or any of the beat 'em ups, the Double Dragons or anything, had evolved into something like this? Right?
Yeah.
If they weren't
But
relegated to the 2D
that's what
space.
that's what I consider it. I consider this game an evolution of something like Streets of Rage. I really do.
Right.
It is the culmination of that vision.
So, and there's a Streets of Rage movie coming out, so maybe Sega will put some budget into a 3D adaptation of Streets of Rage.
Sir,
That
I
being
must
said,
unfortunately, I must interrupt you because when he shows, you must give him the fealty due him. Okay? And we must pause this show real quick and welcome in the king of this gaming community.
the
King
man,
David
the myth, the
OTW.
legend.
What's going
What's
on?
going
sir?
on? Hello, everyone.
Let's see.
What's
What's
happening? What's happening? What's
Good
happening?
morning. Yeah,
Good
I was breaking all type of speed rules and sound barriers
Sound barriers.
in New York, trying to get back in time. I was texting Everborn in the background. Was y'all guys talking about Sifu?
Yes, we were.
Yeah. I just started it. I started it this week.
Yeah, that game is by far, just like Casante said, the evolution of what I think Streets of Rage and stuff was trying to do. Like, remember, they was trying to do when 3D happened, a lot of the beat 'em ups was trying to get into the 3D space, and it took this small development team. I think this game was made by like 1 or 2 guys to respect where beat 'em ups and where we cared about. Like we Run Shaw and Run Me Shaw Brother Films, Drive-In Theater on Saturdays, those kung fu flicks and the whole lore behind it. They took that and turned it into like a game of death type of thing, but put a twist on it as far as, like it's like a roguelike in the age thing, and you grow into that gray beard, all-knowing, all-powerful type of guy by the end of it. The story is phenomenal, and the evolution, yeah. So hopefully Sega does do like you say, and put some money into Streets of Rage in that fashion. But I would rather them, what I would rather Sega to do is to take like Shenmue and add this fluidity, the evolution, because everybody was upset with Shenmue 3 still playing like Shenmue 1 and Shenmue 2 as far as the animations, the feel of the game. It just didn't evolve to that next level. And I think Sifu is the evolution of Shenmue. And if you can get that backing behind a Shenmue with the fluidity of a Sifu, could you imagine really exchanging, palm strikes with a snake style and stuff like that, stuff that you can respect and still have an RPG element to it? I think it would be what
King David,
Shenmue 4 would be.
You are literally speaking on what people in the indie space call the evolution of gaming. That the idea, because you've seen that happen in a few aspects now, where they literally take a farming simulator and then they add a dungeon crawler to it. That you saw it with a few games these days, right? Imagine that combat of Sifu added to an RPG, added to it would be just
so. This is the thing about why we sort of love the indie space, because really the R&D for game mechanics really happens at the indie level. Like at the graphics level, it's the big AAA publishers and things like that. But at the game design, game type level, it's in the indie space where that happens. So it's no surprise to me that something like Sifu came from an indie developer, and you're gonna see it. I promise you now, you're gonna see bigger publishers just take that idea and run with it and add some AAA budgets and graphics to it. But that being said, the reason we brought up Streets of Rage is because there is a Streets of Rage movie coming, and we're going to talk about Sega later, I'm sure, because I'm here, right?
Of course. Yes.
But I think they do have some big things planned. That being said, so the other game that I was playing was Ghostwire Tokyo, and this was a game that I went into it like thinking I wasn't gonna like it.
So
right?
before you expound on that, let's take a pause, a moment, and go through that. Right? I think Mr. Everborn Saga is turning into a graybeard like the rest of us, where every time a new game shows up, right, the man's like, in my day, games were games. This is just cutscenes, man.
No,
get off my lawn.
It's true. Me and Kay Sante were on the phone yesterday for like 2 hours, and I was like, Kay, I realized something about myself.
You choose not to listen to me when I tell you to play a game. Yes, that's right.
A new game, right? I'll go to a new game. My default response is I don't like it. It's new.
Right.
And then I play it, and then that changes or it stays the same. But I just think I walk into games just like
healthy skepticism.
Yeah.
Why do you think that is?
I don't know. Maybe I'm getting old and I just don't like new things. But
You're getting old, John.
Here's the thing. I do push through that feeling, right? I just think that it's funny that my native reaction is I don't like this.
Your native reaction is kids, get off my lawn.
Could it be your overexposure to the community? You think? They desensitize you
I'm in these Twitter slums.
He's laying he's laying with the dogs and catching the fleas.
And coming up with fleas. I think so. I'm making my business not to watch too many trailers. I'm making my business not to, listen to too many people podcasts. I'm making my business not to be drenched inside gaming stuff, because I still like the wonderment, right? I still love the surprise of things. So when people do recommend stuff, because right now my addiction of choice right now is Loop Hero.
Oh yeah.
And on the surface of it, it looks very, very vanilla, very, very mundane. It looks like it's not deep at all.
Old school, yeah. It's got that Vampire Survivor energy. Yes.
Worse than that.
Yeah,
it's
true.
When you see the little guy walking around the grid, it's worse than that. And it gave me feelings of the Amiga, right? If anybody ever had an Amiga back in the days, that's what it felt like. Felt like I was looking for my floppy disk, right? Playing this game, and the addiction sets in. You go around the loop and you start looking at little things and you start strategizing as you're going around this board. And I realized my jadedness towards big budget games and games that people tell me I'm supposed to love. Like I don't like that. Don't tell me I'm supposed to love this. Don't tell me that this is going to be game of the year. Don't tell me that. Let me experience it, right? Because you build up a hype train for something and you're ultimately disappointed. So this is what I'm thinking that you're going through. That, you know, people build them up in so many different ways that you're hearing so much noise coming in. You already say, I don't know. I'm skeptical about this coming in.
So let me push back on that a little bit, because as a lifelong Sonic fan,
right,
I can tell you I don't care what people think, right?
Yep.
I think this is more about me playing a game and then learning its mechanics. So it's more about the onboarding experience for me. And when I die or I'm having trouble understanding what the game is asking from me, and that's usually where I start off at. I'll play it, I'll die, the controls are not what I'm used to, and then I'm like,
and Seafood is about that
I just
frustrating
don't like
boy.
it, right?
Ooh, boy.
So this is the thing for me. I'm 100% on board with, and like anybody can tell you, people look at me and like, why is he playing this game? And why did he wait 3 months to play a game that everybody was talking about 3 months ago?
On that
I don't
point,
care when you're talking about it.
On
right?
that point,
I don't care
we have
what's in
Sycamore 7
Sorry,
in here with a $10 super chat saying, Everborn, the only guy I know that plays 15 games in the span of 8 hours. Continue, good sir.
But that's 15 games, and then I whittle it down to 1 or 2 based on that onboarding experience. So all 15 of them, I just walk in skeptical, like I'm not gonna like this. And it's not even like, here's the next big PlayStation or Xbox game, I'm supposed to like it. I just walk in even with those AAA games, and I'm like, I don't like it, right? I think what I have to train myself to do is be willing of accepting new things and understanding what
you sound old as
games
hell.
ask. Yeah,
Right? Graybeards, man. Graybeards. Our graybeardness is on our face. His is in his game choices.
Video games aren't the way they used to
It's in his
be.
soul.
exactly.
So
In
this
my
is not
day.
Mega Man. In my day, Mega Man shot this way.
Exactly.
You know? So yeah, Everborn. So yeah,
that
continue,
and the murder of Sonic the Hedgehog, which
which you're still
I'm
playing?
just going through one scene at a time. Yeah, a little
Okay,
bit. Put in a couple
okay,
minutes this week.
Okay.
You know.
All right, cool. So I will get it out the way real quick because I want to hear.
Oh,
what,
wait.
Go ahead.
Before
Yeah.
we start, because I don't think we gave King David a proper intro. And
Well,
I
this is my point. Yeah.
This is
go
it,
ahead.
because I wanted to say something to King David as a part of the intro. So you go ahead.
No.
And then I'll ask my King
All
David
right. Well, of course, the man needs no introduction, but he is here and he deserves one, and he will always get one on this show because we are huge fans of the ILP on this channel. He was coming, so I had to dress appropriately, as you can see, right? And oh, by the way, I brought props, so let's go. So yes, the man, the myth, the legend, the one who has presided over 300 episodes of the ILP, Mr. King David. Thank you so much for being here, sir. What games have you been playing this week?
I've been playing Fortnite, of course.
Y'all gotta get me in there, man. It looks beautiful. It's starting to call my name every time I see it.
Have you messed with creator mode yet?
Fine. The water's fine. Come on in. We have squads. We do rotations.
That's
we have absolutely so much fun. I did it like I told y'all before as a bonding mechanism with my son.
Yeah.
Because we started to reside in different locations, so automatically went out, got his Xbox and this stuff. He's always had that stuff, but made sure that his situation was good, headset, everything was good. And at the time he was playing Fortnite and they had build mode, and I was like, oh god,
Yep.
I'm struggling. He's like, come on, Pops, keep up, man, come on. And I'm like, man, I just can't build. And then something miraculous happened. Epic release, no build mode.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, well, while he's in school, I'm gonna get my game up. I know how to shoot. I done played in Call of Duty. I've been playing PUBG.
You a shooter.
Yeah. So once you gave me PUBG with way more fluidity, oh, okay, let's go now. So I'm getting chicken dinners while he's in school. So he gets in And I'm like, oh, I got a full group. Okay, I'll get you in the next rotation. And my addiction, I'm doing the dances, doing all the stuff. So the game changed. As soon as that no build mode hit, and I'm able to just shoot you and do all this fun stuff. And I think there's this game is like no other on the market. Is how topical it is, how relevant it is, and how it allows you to plug and play. I'm so amazed by what Epic has created, and I can see why other companies try to recreate this thing. My next thing that I'm playing is, like I told you, a Loop Hero. You went from one of the prettiest games, one of the most dynamic games in the world, to this thing, and it couldn't be two opposites. It's like you walk in a club and you are proud, you're holding this girl's hand, and dude's just like, he's dating that. Like, are you serious, guy? Like, and I know people come in, they watch, they look, they're like, what are you doing there? And I'm addicted. Like, what are you gonna do? Oh, give me a couple of minutes. I'm playing one more. Just make one more circle. I just planted the vampires, and it's a very, very good game. I just unlocked the necromancer class. Just when you think you've mastered one art in the game, something else pops up, and it's the best thing in the world to play. I mean, I tell you, give it a try. It's a Game Pass.
I have to ask you one thing though, just one thing.
Yes.
I have to know: is this
I'm
addiction
getting an
bad
echo from
enough?
UK.
Yeah.
Anybody else getting that
There's an
echo?
echo?
Yeah, you got some heavy echo.
Ooh, what's going on here? Let's make sure we stop that. Testing 1 2. Is there still an echo?
No,
Nope,
it's good.
you're
I think
good
it's
now.
very good. I have to ask.
Okay.
Is this addiction bad enough, like Vampire Survivor bad? Because that means I may not want to necessarily jump in there, because Vampire
Yes.
Survivor has owned my life for a long
Yes.
time. Okay,
That's specifically the reason I didn't play Vampire Survivor, because
yeah.
I heard too many good things, and I'm like, I can't
Wait,
do it.
you didn't play it?
Not even once.
You're ridiculous. You know what?
Graybeard, man, I'm telling you.
So no, gotta come for the slanderous one.
Put 'em all
You're
in the
playing
corner.
that weird hybrid of a Sonic game, and you're running around with the banner. I mean, you're doing this. I mean, in the streets with the flags. Sonic, and you're not playing potentially the game of the year and Loop Hero, which I'm going to tell you to definitely play. These games are what we got into video games for. These games are the essence of gaming.
Gameplay over all else. It's amazing.
So let me explain something to you. About
Oh,
DK.
here it comes.
Yeah.
This is how this is gonna work. Everyone's gonna tell me to play a game like
And you're not gonna
Hogwarts.
do it. And then
I'm
when
gonna
you
say
play it,
no.
He's gonna be all
15 months
curmudgeon.
Exactly.
Yep.
And then I'm gonna pretend like I'm the first one that came to it.
I feel you. Okay, I'm down. As long as you own that, we good.
Yes, and that's why he and I connect. He'll admit his fraud every time, so that's good.
So when you were saying, walking with the girl on your arm and everybody's like, you know what that made me think is like that game Loop Hero. She cook, clean, and she read to the seeds.
That's right.
See, everybody's like, oh, but she don't look this way, she don't look that way, but she loyal
That's right.
and she love you.
No, it's deeper than that. It's deeper than that. She that damn good in bed.
Oh
Deeper than that.
Oh, boy.
She's
The soul
that
snatcher.
Damn.
It's-
yes.
It's the soul.
exactly.
Yes.
She's so good. You grab her hand in public. She that good. All right. So I'm telling you right now, if you
claiming it.
man, she not nothing to look at. And she the type of girl you'll leave her in the club without a worry. Because ain't nobody looking at her.
Soul gone.
But
Okay,
I'ma
so
tell
now
you get a chance, boy. Woo, woo, woo.
Now, and you brought up the Fortnite thing. It reminds me of a story about the first Destiny, because I was hardcore Destiny 1,
Ooh.
right? I think I got and this is going to be nothing to you Destiny players, but I got over 300 hours
Oh, that's nothing.
in that game. Exactly.
That's cute.
That's dipping your toe in there. That's cute.
But let me tell you why, the true reason why I stopped playing Destiny, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it was one of the things that me and my son would bond over, like how you were talking about, and we would play and we would go on raids, and I was the one that needed the Sherpa. I was the one that needed carrying, right? and so, but people didn't know that I was my son's father in there. I just went in there under Everboard or whatever. So the people in the raid was like, yo, who's this dude? He's ruining everything. And somebody was like, this wasn't my son, but somebody was like, yo, relax, man. That's somebody's father. And I'm like, that is the moment I knew I was old.
That's when the grade just kind of started creeping down. You had to peace out.
I can't hang with the boy.
You can't do that. Listen, I'm playing with my oldest son, and we're playing Outriders. Right, so we're playing, and this is the first time I guess his friend, saw me or whatever. And
Vault of Glass, by the way, was the one terrible. Was the raid that happened.
I know where you was at, Atheon. And we're playing, and I said something, son. So and my son said back, yeah, dad. And his boy said, what? He said, yeah, that's Pop Dukes. He said, what? He said, yeah. He said, yo, your pop's cool as hell. He said, this whole time I'm thinking it's some random dude that you just know. I said, nah, that's my kid. Yeah, I birthed that. That's me. I don't get a chance to play video games with my pops. So that moment where you was trash in the raid, and he's like, this is somebody's pops, and your son is sitting there like, yeah, that's my dad. He can't jump. His warlock game guy. I mean,
but still, he's there.
You got that experience. Like you're present and you're trying. And I think that is the greatest thing ever. I mean, I would have doubled down harder. We raiding tomorrow too.
That's right. Let's go.
No, it was a point of victory for my son because we would always play Halo and he could never see me. So this was finally a time where he was like, I have surpassed you, father.
This is when the Padawan becomes the Jedi. That's right.
Darth, the rise of Darth Vader.
And to this day, I still get crap about that.
I'm sure. And he should hold that over you for the rest of your life. It's
That's beautiful. Because my son tells me I'm hot garbage in Fortnite. And he's not lying. Like, come on, Dad. You really?
Come on now. I've seen you with them Twitter posts, bro. You sitting there getting them deuces all day. Like, what's going on with people?
I'm not gonna lie. In the beginning, I'm trash. But you start learning. And the one thing about me is I'm gonna keep landing in the same spot until I master the area. That if I get shot, I get afraid. I can hide some places I know it like the back of my hand. Once I master that area, then I start branching out. The problem with Fortnite is this: 3-4 months, you see your area, you the king of your domain.
Yeah.
On its head, they flip your game and they do it in a matter of 2 hours. We have a downtime for 2 hours. What can they do in 2 hours? They can change the world. Literally, you get into the world and it's completely different.
Yeah.
You got to learn it all over again. That's why I love it.
Hit you with it was all good just a week ago.
Facts. Your pistol was working yesterday, is not working today.
Oh man. So okay, I will quickly touch on the game I have been playing because most people think it's gaming NyQuil, and I'm okay with that. Yes, I see you in there, Slow Backslap. It is gaming NyQuil. I have been playing, as you see on your screen, Horizon Forbidden West, The Burning Shores. One of the best looking games.
Oh, that was the one that PlayStation, whatchamacallit me about. They emailed me about this.
Oh, did they? That's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. I haven't finished it. Of course, it got spoiled for me because people have been talking about certain quote-unquote risque aspects. I'm like, calm down, people. What are we doing right now? So far, it is more Horizon. If you like Horizon, you will like this. Most of y'all don't. But I do. I'm unabashed. I enjoy the game. I play it with my kid all the time. She enjoys it. She loves walking around, like fighting the monsters and whatnot. So we've been playing more of that. So that's what you're seeing on your screen here. Real quick, before we switch off, let me thank the Wandering Dutch for just leaving a 150 euro super chat. Just because we appreciate you, sir. And by the way, if you are around, one of the first stories we're talking about is your showcase. So stay tuned for that. Anyone have anything else they want to drop before we move on?
Yeah, before we get into the news, this was the thing I wanted to say to King in his intro. I heard you and No. I don't know why I'm having a
brain
Sav.
fart?
You and Sav
Uh-huh.
talking about the escapades at the Palladium
Oh yeah.
Guy, this
and the
guy here.
tunnel, right?
Uh-huh. Yeah,
And
what's up?
so you are about 5-6 years older than me,
Mm-hmm.
but the tunnel and the Palladium is what I used to hear about in high school, but I was too young to go.
Mm-hmm.
But you would hear Flex talking about it. You just hear the stories. And so me, like my age, like I was going to skate key in the rink.
Right.
But you have the war stories of the things that we just imagined about in high school, just because it was right before my time, and then when I was old enough to go there, it really wasn't
It
popping
was
like
gone.
that no more. Yeah. So I'm gonna need a show, whether it's a Patreon tier or something where you change the names to protect the guilty. We gonna need a show to hear about those escapades, because a lot of people do not know what the Palladium and the tunnel was like, and I only know from secondhand stories.
Okay, so it was 3 places. Well, actually 4. It was with the Palladium, Limelight, Studio 54, the Castle in the Bronx, BBQs on Fordham.
BBQs, I know. BBQs.
That was in the back. But did you know when Fat Joe owned it?
I did not know that.
Yeah. So okay. So the tunnel underground and Rucker Park. All right. So
Rucker Park, I know. I was on McCombs Avenue for a little while.
Okay. So these places I frequent a lot, right? And a lot of the people that I hang with wasn't of the friendly type. Okay, to put it mildly. So I would bring that element. I mean, I am of that element. So when I go around my cousin and hanging around Brian and them, sometimes I'll bring a couple of guys with me or whatever, and they have that element. So naturally, when we finish hanging out here, I'm going to go back to my element and go hang out over there. Me hanging out over there. Oh, Brian wants to go. All right, cool. Let's go. So we'll go, to this place on my birthday or his birthday. And, it's just like Club Vinyl. Club Vinyl was one of those clubs where it had 4 levels. Each level had its own theme, like level 1 techno, level 2 garage, level 3 reggae, level 4 hip hop. And it was like going through a level of seafood, game of seafood. Like you're going to each floor, and each floor has its own distinct personality. And I don't even know how the music didn't bleed into each other because it was really loud, but it was self-contained islands, and that club within itself was so amazing. I'll give you one quick story. I was on my Tupac stuff. I had a Death Row chain, and around this time, it was very, New York versus West Coast. I'm an East Coast dude. I love West Coast stuff. I love the whole culture.
98, somewhere like that.
NWA, all of that. So I get up there, and I told the DJ, walked into the booth with the DJs at, and I was with a couple of guys. I said, man, shut all this New York music off and put on West Coast music. For the whole night, they played Tupac, they played all West Coast, they played Snoop music, they played everything. And they thought I was from Death Row because I had the big Death Row chain that I had custom made. So that's one thing. But Brian,
I want to know what happened when you left, because that's when usually when things happen. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But Sovereign was with me that night, and that was I think that's the night he met his ex-wife.
Okay.
Because they leave it at that.
I remember the time where it's like at certain places you either go with the team, or if you're going by yourself, you might want to tuck your chain in. Things happen.
Oh no, never. See, and that's another thing. Never tuck my chain, ever. Wherever I was Brooklyn, Queens, Staten Island, never tuck my chain. So it's just,
Hey, man,
I have to agree with Mr. Everborn Saga. We need a Patreon show We need to protect the names and the faces, but we need to get into some details, bro.
Listen,
'Cause
King.
it's gonna be down.
Now,
I was a music
I'm right.
promoter.
I'm right behind you, but listen. If you and Saul want to do it, I'm down for a New York show.
All right, I'm
90s
down.
New York.
I'm down.
Clip
It'll
that.
be very.
We want to see it. We want to see it. That,
I mean, the
that would be
statutes of
absolutely awesome.
limitations is up on certain things.
Yes. I will say,
He's like, wait a minute,
for those
7 years? Okay, cool, right?
Yeah,
for those who are enjoying the show, please hit that like button. We see 137 people in here. Thank y'all so
Let's
much
go.
for being here. Thank you so much. If you haven't hit the like button, please try to do that because as the king says, we're trying to save some tropical animals, man. We're trying to save.
what we trying to save today? What we trying to save?
Oh my God!
The West Indian armadillo.
That's right. Yeah. The Australian koala. He needs your assistance. Come on, hit the button. Hit the button. You know what I'm saying?
Down with that.
Yes.
New
indeed.
podcast coming, 90s New York.
Indeed.
Wu-Tang.
Let's go.
So let me move.
I'm one of
along.
those weirdos too
Uh-huh.
that I would go to your town. I went to Staten Island just because I like Wu-Tang and I wanted to see where it was from.
Why not?
Yeah, I'm
Why
a
not?
weirdo.
Hey man, there are people who follow bands all across the country and the world. Like you went to a different borough. Why not? It's all good, right?
Oh well, at that time, going to Staten Island,
What needs
New York wasn't all that friendly.
I hear you. Yeah.
Trust me, we're not friendly now.
It
So
was putting your
back
life
then,
in your own hands a little bit.
Boy.
I understand.
Yo, let me tell you, listen, when I go to Florida, this is just growing up in the Bronx in New York, right? When we grew up, I go to new places and people are friendly and I like I'm almost second guessing it. Like you go to Florida, everybody's waving to you like, did they try to disrespect me?
No,
Like
but you need to understand
remember
something.
fights breaking
as a
out
dude who lives
on
in
the
Florida,
bus because somebody looked at somebody?
As a dude who lives in Florida, don't let those wavy hands fool you. Like every place is palm trees and roses and whatnot. It ain't that like it's surface level. Like it took me
ain't
some time.
sweet.
It took me some time to learn that myself. So that's a whole
They got
different
alligators
podcast.
and they got alligators and anacondas. It ain't that sweet.
It ain't that sweet, bro. The sun is shining on you while you're getting beat. It is what it is.
Exactly.
Let us move forwards. So let's get into some of the nitty gritty because I want to be out by 1 to catch.
Yes. Sir.
Actually, and it's serendipitous that I bring this up because the first story of the day, ladies and gentlemen, is the fact that not only is this happening, but it was written up. The Indie Showcase. It's happening today at 1 o'clock. It's starring the Wandering Dutch. It will have so much for you to see, and thanks to Complete Xbox, which is an interesting blog out of the UK, they wrote it up. They told all the fans about it, what to do, what to expect. You see some notable community members in there. The gray beard is shining in there. I see Everborn Saga in there. It's gonna be a great show. I hope y'all are able to check it out because if you're not, we're trying to grow the grassroots. This is DIY stuff we're doing out here, and I'm very proud of my brother, the Wandering Dutch, for jumping into the waters, starting it out. Y'all are getting very salty whenever anybody brings up the Keeleys. So let's try the Dutchies. How about that? Huh?
That's
Mr. Everborn Saga. Before this was just maybe just a touch point that I wanted people to remember and that people know about. But how about you give us a little bit of a tease of possibly some of the things we can see today? Maybe from you, maybe from us. What's going on? I know you got something in the works.
Well, I don't like to give out spoilers, right?
Okay,
but
okay.
I just think you should. I think everyone should watch the show
Okay.
if you're a fan of things. That's
If you're a
all I
fan
wanna
of
say about
things.
that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
That's
You're
very
a fan of
cryptic.
games.
That's very cryptic. If you're a fan of things, you should watch the show.
We're gonna
Okay.
leave it there, but
Okay.
let's just say I'm very excited about this show. That's all.
Indeed. As am I. I think this is a great effort that he's putting in. This is, I think, 3 years strong. So this is absolutely fantastic. If you didn't check it out last year, you missed a bunch of stuff because there were some world premieres. Hit me with that, Silent Cypher. Hit me with that real quick.
World premiere.
Someone hire this man, ladies and gentlemen. Come on now. We expect that this year. So come and check it out. I'm excited to keep promoting and let people know it's starting as soon as this show is done. So let me get this started. Well, okay, just a little bit of a touch point. I saw this making the rounds and people talking about it, and I just kind of want to take a measure of the room and what y'all thought about this police cam footage thing, this small little game. I wouldn't even call it a game. It's more like just a vertical slice that has been making the rounds on the internet. I don't know if you guys have seen this. King, I don't know if this is something that you saw, where it is so realistic, Unreal Engine 5, presumably, that you're not believing your eyes, thinking that it's an actual real footage that's being shown off. Did you see this permeating the ecosystem? What do you think? Are you excited for a world where this is the kind of games that we're playing? Call of Duty looks like this, or is it just kind of like it's an interesting demo? What do you think?
I think Unreal Engine 5 is the reason why a lot of games are being delayed. I think it's a direct cause of a ton of problems in developments, people with development kits and stuff like that. I think Unreal Engine 5, because of the level of fidelity and how versatile the engine is and all the new things that is able to be done and achieved, is it's groundbreaking, but it's also has a huge learning curve. Everybody thinks stuff is plug and play. They think if they know Unreal Engine 4 and they're masters at Unreal Engine 4, that would translate into being the masters of Unreal Engine 5. This is no coincidence that after Unreal Engine 5 is announced and shown 4 years later, we are starting to see footage of games that look like this. So that means that it's not a plug and play situation. I believe games are going to look better than this at some point in time because of the frame rate and stuff like that. People are trying to achieve this fidelity with the frame rate and trying to marry the two. So that's why we're getting the delays and people are learning from ground A. So if you have a basis in programming for Unreal, you have a ground foundation and growing from there. This studio, I'm pretty sure, comes from an unknown studio probably. That has been very diligent in working with it. Young studio growing with it. It looks phenomenal. Again, frame rate, like I said, is a problem. If anybody's looking at it, look at the frame rate.
Oh, yeah.
But all the stuff that's there is huge promise. So when Call of Duty looks like this, I think it spawns a whole different thought of legislation, right? Because this will desensitize children from actual violence.
Yep.
This will desensitize brains that are not formed in the fashion of understanding that killing and shooting and stuff like this with this level of realism is not okay. I think they're going to have to start putting disclaimers up, the violence that you do see.
The ESRB is going to have to level up their game, as it were. Absolutely.
Listen, I can picture the wrong kind of people using this for training. That's all I'm going to say.
It looks like a training video.
Yeah,
it does. Absolutely. Silent Cypher, please jump in on this. What are your thoughts? I know you and I talked to the man Infinite Umbra who gets a stipend every time anybody says UE5. Cha-ching. I'm fighting with him all the time about it. This looks great, but as King David brings out, and it's a very interesting avenue that we don't really think about, right? We've always lived in the lap of luxury going, oh, this is just childish, graphic violence. It's not that bad. But when it starts looking like this, and you have, like, let's say, a remake of Resident Evil 4 where it's like not really good looking blood, but like it looks damn real like this, that might bring up a whole different new set of issues. No? What do you think?
Yeah, I think King is definitely onto something with this one. It's like I didn't really think about it at the time when this video released, but it's one of those things of like my son enjoys playing some Call of Duty. He enjoys playing some Fortnite and stuff. I think he's maybe a little too young for Call of Duty, but that being said, there's still kind of that cartoon aspect. There's still some of that, it's a game. It's fake. But if my son comes up to me and's like, hey, I want to play this, this body cam game, and I see something like this, like it gets it gets a little too real too fast.
Mhm.
And as a parent, especially, when I see that, I'm like, it's great for me. I love it. I enjoy that realism.
Yeah.
But I get nervous when my son's like, I want to go shoot bad guys, and I'm seeing
Mhm.
the game. I'm like, ooh,
Yeah.
I don't know if this is what I need you to be playing.
It's a hard no for me. I mean,
So-
Halo was goofy fun, and that actually let
Yeah.
people in. This is a little bit
Yeah.
beyond the pale, a little bit. Everborn Saga, what are your thoughts?
Yeah.
So I mean, you can do, excuse me, anything you want to like an alien, but once you start getting, and this is how movies work, right? You
Yep.
can decapitate, Thanos on screen and still get a PG-13 rating. The moment it's an actual human you're doing that to, you're getting that R rating.
Yeah.
Right. And I think it's the same thing here where you get to this point, because this is like past Uncanny Valley point, right?
We didn't
Like,
see
this
faces,
is-
though.
you-
It might still need some work in the faces department. But yes, from a
Maybe,
motion
but-
and movement,
Yeah.
absolutely, yeah.
So this is really interesting, and I could just picture, like, imagine playing this in VR,
Bro,
right?
Well,
Like
they got
that-
some VR games that really look really good.
yep.
But I'm saying,
But the
that's true.
the barrier entry to children is, the unit itself being the price that it is, right?
Yep.
So you got to say, it's first and foremost is okay, PC. They need a PC with a rig that's probably like $4 or $5 grand to run a game that will look like this, and then you have to have the VR hardware itself, and then you're looking at the space, right? So you're not going to really be worried about a child of, let's say, 12 years old and under playing that game. Go ahead, sir.
Oh no, I was just gonna say I agree with you for the most part, but my son's got a friend that's playing around in VR right now, and we're talking 8 years old, and
But
his parents
his
literally
parents is
just
rich,
bought
right?
that stuff, and we're like, here you go.
Yeah.
That gets me nervous.
See, I was gonna
Here's
say
the-
there's that one caveat of the rich kid
yeah,
that,
Yeah.
but and then I want you to explore this too. I want you to explore this. Urban children, and I don't know the statistics, and I know we're going into murky waters here. Urban children, and y'all understand when I say urban children, are busy killing each other. So they're desensitized by the violence that they see in their urban environment, right? And usually those killings are from extenuated beef from stuff that has escalated in their environment. Now, the affluent children that do the mass things that happens in pockets of urban America or in
Suburbia and all
affluent
that. Yeah.
neighborhoods
Yeah,
and
yeah,
stuff
yeah.
like that
Mhm.
is coming from privileged situations, right? So the kid that did get everything, that doesn't understand no, but is playing this game, and not saying that this game is the catalyst. What I'm saying is the game allows it to become a gateway. And I know people don't they well King, everything is a gateway. Movies is a gateway. I'm not saying that they're not. You have to look at everything in this child's environment, right? So, and I know they say it starts with the parenting. Yeah, you got to watch what the kids is doing. Really career-oriented families use the schooling systems and the babysitters to be the parents of what's going on.
and the
then-
tablets.
Right. And then
Yeah.
you're giving them this level of technology and expecting them to operate in a manner that is conducive to society. Well, what happens with this child that lacks that parental guidance, or they probably do, and they're desensitized with this level of violence and the accessibility of getting this technology at a young age, their feelings get hurt. They get into a breakup, because we deal with breakups different now. You know how when we was kids, we'll write a letter, "You're ugly," right? No, now these kids want to go and blow up the school. God forbid. So I believe technology in the wrong hands at the wrong times without supervision would lead to bad situations.
Well,
This game doesn't help
Ki-
that
let
fight.
me let me
agree.
ask you a question,
Go ahead,
right?
Jay. Yeah.
So, is that the responsibility of the content creator? And I mean, when I say content, I mean like this game, the developer, right?
Yeah.
No.
Is that the responsibility of the game developer, or is it the responsibility of society and parents?
Parents.
And if that is the case, should the is should the developer be careful what they're putting out, right? Because I would argue that what you're talking about is very real, and it is in many ways like a symptom of sort of the it's a symptom of inflation. And when I say that, I mean people have to spend more for everything, which means they have to work more, which means they don't have the time
To be in family.
stay at
Right.
home. Right, stay
You
at
understand.
home. Parents are not really are becoming less and less of a thing because it is so hard to survive on one salary. So therefore, you have kids and you're working to support them. That means leaving them alone and leaving the internet and, like you said, babysitters in schools to raise them.
I'll give the pushback real quickly, and y'all gonna see the correlation. I was a latchkey child. We were latchkey children. If anybody came from a family, either if you have a single family household or you had a dual family household where there were gaps in times where, okay, mommy would be gone for an hour, sit behind the door, don't open the door for nobody, blah, 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 blah. Your father be home soon. Father comes home probably like 2 hours later. You know, as a kid, you have a 2-hour window, right? In your 2-hour window, you get in all types of hell. But we always had cartoons that had morals, geared towards morals and scruples, right? Every cartoon, remember G.I. Joe, and knowing is half the battle. They always gave you
Now, King, as you talk
a
about
thing.
that,
That was
as you
because
talk-
Ronald Reagan and
Yes,
Nancy
that's what I
Reagan
was
and
coming
them put that stuff. Saturday morning cartoons,
Oh,
everything had to have a message. Stuff had to have a message, right? That stuff is removed now. So the message is removed. So children is no longer being cultivated. Not saying that they don't have latchkey children now. Have same latchkey child. Now that 2 hours that he's alone, he or she alone, they're playing Call of Duty. They're playing something killer deal of this. Or they're watching that movie that they can't see, Saw 3 or Saw 5 or whatever, right? And now the supervision is removed. And that becomes their gateway. So anything, all this technology, misguided and misused, not supervised for the children, for individuals that are not ready yet to accept certain stuff. That stuff is where the problem lies. The game itself, this is artistic expression, and I'm pretty sure that the developer made the game for you, me, and everybody else that's here, right?
Yeah.
That is of age, that will consume the product and don't take the product with them after they finish. It's like after you put down a controller, you don't say, man, that killing that I got was so great. Let me go get a real gun and do this, right? So that's where the developer is. The developer is like, no, my title is for people with some sensibility and that can appreciate the artistic nature in which I present the game, not the person that gets riled up and wants to do what they see in the game.
Yep, I agree, absolutely.
So, just, and I know we should move on. There's one thing I wanted to add.
Go ahead.
You know, there is an element to, you know, like, so we are human beings, but we're also like, you know, we're all animals, right?
Right.
And there are certain things, as you know, being civilized society or domesticated, as I like to call it, that have kind of been removed from us, right? The whole hunter-gathering thing, and we find different ways to express that. But there is an argument to say that there are certain needs that we have to have filled, right? There are you know, there are those roles of sort of anger or violence, or that are just kind of, for the most part, kind of removed from us. So isn't it better that we sort of serve those those needs are served via simulation, like games like this, so that we're not doing it out in the real world where people could get hurt?
That runs into your amendments and your rights to bear arms and all that other stuff that goes with that stuff, and the threat of government and all that other stuff that goes with all that stuff. Um, yeah, in an ideal world, where we can have stuff where people can let go of all the mental stress and strife that is put onto them by daily activities and daily things. Um, that would be great. Everybody has a pod to go in and put on some VR and just go in there and just let off and to get out whatever frustrations. But some people aren't able to have that, and some people don't even have people to talk to. So I believe more. It's more about how each individual consumes a product, right? It's not per se them having an outlet for things. I think it's more, it starts more with the consumption, because somebody put in the chat that, to be fair, a lot of the mass blanks are done by adults. I give pushback on that, but
Many of them are
that's,
like
Not the
yeah,
school
late
joints.
teenagers and whatnot. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. If you say young adults, that works. Um, um, I just feel that it's a lot of things that contribute to certain things. Is this game going to be the catalyst for something? We don't know. Is this game going to precipitate more? We don't know. But what I do say is the realism is starting to desensitize individuals from the barrier of morals. That's all I'm saying. So if it's the desensitization because of the realism is being acted out on the screen. The shock, once you're no longer shocked by certain things, that's when you become desensitized.
Yeah.
It's the same as if you're eating hot sauce day by day. The first time you eat the hot sauce, it's hot.
Yeah, I
But
have
then
I
you
have
get
a numb
desensitized
tongue.
to it.
I'm a hot sauce eater all day, every
See?
day. So
Right.
I know
It's
what you're talking about.
it's shock and shame. But let me bring this
No,
back.
but I think both of you have a point though. Like I really do, and I think that the key here, real quick, is the fidelity on the screen that you're seeing. Right, there is a need for a place where you can have an outlet like that, where you can
Yeah.
play Mortal Kombat and not have to go rip people's spines in real life. But then it was comical horror and humor and violence. But since we are at a fidelity right now where it's so lifelike, King's point is also quite valid, where it can lead to rather than using that to relieve your stress, you can use that to replace your mental state with other things that are very concerning. Go ahead.
Now,
You close this out.
here's a.
Go ahead.
It's just
real-
one thing. I just
Go
yeah.
ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
It's just this part. Remember when we first saw Mortal Kombat? Because you brought up Mortal Kombat. Remember when we first saw Mortal Kombat, and there was digitized characters, and it looked real, right?
Yes.
Compared to
ESRB was
anything that
created
we
because
saw.
of it. Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
It
ESRB was created because Nintendo went and snitched to Joe Lieberman, and
we
because
have the
they couldn't
context,
hang
but
against
still-
the Genesis.
still-
Okay, sorry.
Yeah,
All right,
but,
sorry.
but I'm
Don't get
talking
me
about
started.
the arcade unit itself. Right? When it got to home units, they started to get a little cartoony because of what the fidelity was that the home units
Yeah.
could push out.
But the arcade
That
was like
arcade
real.
unit.
Yes.
They looked real.
It was mad
The
FMV
shocking
at the
horror.
time. Yes.
Right. The shocking horror
Remember Night
when
Trap?
you saw somebody rip out their heart or the head got pulled off or
Yeah,
rip
oh
out
yeah.
the spinal cord. It was so visceral at that point. That's the reason why they used Mortal Kombat. It was shocking. Excuse me. We got desensitized to that. Still to this
Now
day,
you
though.
see it as jokes. Back in the day,
Right,
it was,
but
oh
still
my
to this day,
God.
Mortal Kombat does not look like digitized real humans. It's 3D space. We know it's 3D rendered. Our eyes and our brain knows that this is cartoon people. In the beginning, the shock was that's photorealistic. This is crazy, and this is happening, and that's where the breakdown is. So yeah, cartoony. Yeah, the more realistic, we're going to be in trouble with.
And listen, this is the beginning of them building the Matrix, right? You hear that music AI stuff they're doing is the whole Drake controversy, right? You mix that with this and deep fake stuff. How do you even know what you're looking at is real? That being said, right? Just to bring it back to gaming, you made an interesting point, King, about so many games being delayed that were tied to Unreal Engine 5. And when the entire I
All
hope
of
Umbra is
Microsoft.
still in the chat.
Oh boy.
When the entire industry is relying on for the most part a single engine, if that engine has issues or is hard to learn,
Single point
everybody's
failure.
messed up.
Yeah.
And this is why I love Unreal Engine and what it can do for smaller teams and helping them punch above their weight. But you need
But-
other engines. You need the Decima engines.
Yes.
You need these bespoke engines. You need id Tech because
You need
those
Unity.
are
You need
going
all
to
of them.
lead the way. Right.
I don't want to break it to you.
But
Every
they're
time we
slowly
go to
falling away.
PAX,
Yeah.
every PAX we go to, and all those indie guys, the majority, I always ask the engine, the majority of the games is Unity.
Yeah.
There you go.
Absolutely. I'll tell you, that's the only thing I develop in, right?
Right.
And I develop smaller games. But what I'm getting at is like, the way I view the Unities and the Unreal is they proliferate these tools and effects to the masses, but those tools and effects are first created by the Decima engines and the id Techs and all those things, and so they lead the way, and then Unreal and Unity commoditize that stuff so that more people can
incorporate
do it
them.
without having to have a big AAA team with hundreds of people, and that is good. But I just don't think that everything should
go
be
that
on
way.
Unreal.
That's right.
You need the bespoke engines, or we may end up in a not so
Samey.
good place.
And
Well,
Exactly.
that's because you're a developer. You're a creator. You're an entrepreneur. You are a business owner. You understand the ownership aspect of it. You understand that more than anybody else, that owning something that you create, you have the versatility to live and grow in that space. There's no ability to live and grow in a space when you don't own the engine, right? You can just only go by as
What they
far
tell
as
you.
the engine would take
That's
you.
right. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're also the last point, and we'll move forward. You're also
So take that,
making-
Umbra. No, I'm joking.
You're making Epic unusually powerful in this space when they hold
Yeah.
the keys to all games. You know, it doesn't matter what platform you're on. You're making them the gatekeeper that you might not like when they change their minds on certain things. You know what I mean? So
The Emperor.
all that.
This is why I was
that's
never
right.
on board with Halo going to Unreal. I know they might do it anyway, but
Me
I
too.
don't.
Oh, yeah.
I don't like
Me
it.
too.
It's already done, sir.
It is what it is. Yes.
Yeah,
So
I
real
guess.
quick, we
I
have
guess.
David Ramos in here. Once again, thank you, sir, with another $5 super chat saying, but right now, is this discussion more about how close to reality this game is versus others, or not specifically about the violence that is more closely to reality? I think it's a bit of both right there. I think it's a bit of both.
Yeah.
I honestly think that it is an achievement to be lauded because, hey, we haven't seen a game look so lifelike, but it brings up that interesting point. Just like how we were talking a couple weeks ago about how amazing AI is and how it's gonna make, you're gonna reach and meet an NPC that's gonna say things that they never hear twice. All these amazing things, but then there's the backdrop of, hey, that also means a lot of people that have been working in this space and doing this work and voiceover and all of that. All of y'all are gonna start like looking elsewhere to keep your livelihoods because they don't need you no more, right? So these are the things that you kind of have to weigh back and forth. Doesn't mean we shouldn't move forward in technology, right? But these interesting little side effects that it then brings forth bears a conversation. And King David, I've thought about that, but you crystallizing the idea of how it brings violence and to our youth in a more realistic way, because that's what you're seeing. That is a very interesting avenue that deserves a lot more exploration. I honestly think so, especially looking at how real this does. You know?
It's that's the only reason why there's any controversy between this.
Yeah.
Your brain can't decipher if this is real or if it's a game.
I still don't 100% believe.
I still don't believe it. Yeah, I think it could be a video that people are using.
Well,
I think it
okay,
could,
let's
it could
say
be a
this,
hoax.
right? See,
Yeah.
that's the thing. That's where the controversy lies.
Yeah.
Because now, if this is real, this is a game.
Yep.
This is what you can play.
Yep.
That's where the spookiness lies, because now you're thinking automatically. All of us here as a father said, "Oh, I can't have my kid playing this."
I can't have my kids playing that.
Automatically.
Hell no. What are we doing here?
But then you also said, "I can't wait to get my hands on
I
it."
can't wait to
Oh,
play
absolutely.
myself.
Yeah.
Even
Right?
after dark.
That's where the
You know,
controversy
That's
is.
what
That's
it
the
is.
only
That's what
place.
it is. Indeed. All right, so let us move forward. Thanks again to all the people that are still in here rocking with us. Please hit that like button. We're over 100 folks. Let's get the like button up there in the upper
Is this?
echelon.
Are we getting
appreciate
to a new high soon? Look at you,
Bro,
bro.
170.
we're doing it.
King and Cypher in the
We're
building.
you know, we're doing it. It's a
This is-
beautiful
this is
thing,
what
man.
happened.
Thank y'all so much. But,
Saturday.
okay.
Hey, Kay, before the show's over, not right now, because I want us to move into the news topics, but before it's over, I want to do a quick on the real minute to talk about this crazy movie I watched last night.
Okay.
What you saw?
For sure.
Yeah, it's Incarnation. It's on Netflix.
Yeah, I saw you
It's
put a poster
Taiwanese
on
movie.
Twitter. Okay.
Nightmares.
Mind-blowing.
And I don't have nightmares.
Oh, I gotta watch that.
All right.
King, I'm telling you.
Let's
I
be
just saw
quick
the
so we
full
have
text
a little
message.
bit of time for that. Let's be quick so we have some time for that real quick. So, okay. Let's move on because we are Xbox gamers here. We play a lot on Xbox. So I wanted to talk about this story and get the pulse of y'all and the community at large. And this is of course by the a friend of the show, Mr. Jez Corden, over at Windows Central Gaming, talking about thanks to this new Twitter change, say goodbye to Xbox DVR feature. And what feature is he talking about? The ability to record a clip real quick, put some description on it, and then bam, it's on Twitter. They have removed that because, of course, API access to Twitter right now under the new Lord and Savior is $42,000 a month. Right now, let's be clear. This is to the sometimes $3 trillion company. So that's like literally a drop of rain on your face while you're walking down the street. But still, API access for $42,000 a month has made some companies go, nah, homie, you're going a little too overboard here. And as such, they're now cutting ties with Twitter in a major way in that way. And I heard the story coming out. I heard that companies were moving away. I heard that Xbox themselves, their marketing arm, wasn't going to be using Twitter as much as they were. But Jez brings up a very interesting point that also now relates to features being cut. Of course, let me pause because Mr. Joanna Dark is in here.
Oh, boy.
And he needs to feed the slander beast. He is here with a $2 super chat. Thank you, sir, as usual. He's saying Sonic should use ChatGPT to make a good Sonic game. Oh, Lord. All right.
Yeah, they can use it for free when Microsoft buys them.
It's getting messy.
Next question.
Oh, man. But yes,
Ridiculous.
to this story, it looks like because of the higher prices that now Twitter is insisting that companies pay, some of these features now being removed. Mr. Everborn Saga, I know you were first on that train. You started using that Twitter API to post clips, and you were doing that a lot.
Well,
in the few
actually,
months.
I have always, I think I've maybe shared 2 or 3 clips from the Xbox itself. I always do it from the app where I download the video and then share it from my phone, which is what they're telling you to do now.
Yeah.
And I know people are saying Microsoft should pay this, and maybe they
That's
should.
ridiculous. Come
But the reason that they should pay it is because they're a $2 trillion company. I don't think is the right answer. My kids come to me all the time. Dad, we got money. No, we don't. I got money. And we're not just spending it for no reason. Right? So just because
West Indies. Hell, no, we don't.
so the thing is, I don't think it's the best. Like, you can't just strong arm people for no reason, right?
Yeah.
He's doing that right now. So you got a bunch of people that will tell you, laugh in your face and tell you, I'm not paying for Twitter Blue because this service is supposed to be what it is, and then say Microsoft is supposed to do the same thing. I'm not saying I'm not saying they should do it, but I understand.
I understand, yes. I understand that on principle alone, they definitely shouldn't do that. And by the way, I now have subscribed to Twitter Blue because my wife has been on my butt.
Got him.
No, listen.
Same thing's gonna happen to Microsoft.
My
They're
wife
gonna
has been on me like, hey, if you want to see more promotion, you want to see your show move to the next level, invest in it more. And I'm actually able to do longer form chat. I'm able to put more videos. For me, in my use case, I find it valuable, But the backdrop around Twitter Blue and all of that, and how Elon is doing what he's doing with it, I completely understand. And I'm in wholehearted agreement that Microsoft be like, nope, sorry about that. That's ridiculous. Make it useful for us rather than yesterday's price is not the same as today's price. Mr. Silent Cypher, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I don't know. I'm conflicted on it, right? Is like, obviously they want to make money over time, but I feel like it's an optics thing for this guy, right? Because Elon came in, started making these changes, dropping people, starting, all these new additions. And I feel like it's a lot of bad news all the time instead of like peppering it with some good news as well, right? Being like, hey, I know you're having to pay for this, but guess what else you just got as well that we're just baking into the experience. The optics win and fight the argument for you, and you end up seeing a bunch of people freak out on the service because of it. As far as Microsoft paying it, this kind of reminds me of what happened with Kroger out here a while ago. It's been a few years, but at one point Visa decided that they were going to increase their fees for using their cards, debit, stuff like that. And Kroger decided that they were going to drop them. So they're like, as of now, if you have a Visa credit card, you cannot purchase groceries with the Visa credit card. You are done, and until further notice, it's gone. And so they shut them down across the nation. And eventually Visa and Kroger and everyone they worked together to figure out maybe a good common solution on it, right? They found a compromise. And I feel like maybe it's good if some of these bigger companies jump in and say, hey, we're not going to play ball with what you're asking, because maybe we can see them come back to the table with a more realistic cost, right?
Okay.
But yeah, no, that's kind of what I think with it, is just mainly, maybe put some pressure on there, and then fingers crossed that'll cause them to revisit it.
So and of course the community is split. Great member of the community, Mr. Hargeet Chani, in here with a $5 super chat. Thank you, good sir, for being here and for the interesting comment. He says, sorry, but the Twitter thing is another L for Xbox. Other platforms haven't stopped that connectivity. The API tiering, on the API tiering pricing, Xbox should pay. Now, he's not the only one. Lucius Augustus in here, another great member of the community, saying that amounts to $500K per year, which is crazy. That is the cost of a low to middle tier budget game every year. A little crazy. King David, what are your thoughts, sir?
But King, before you start, what I just like you to include this in your response here. Do you think that the metrics and that they have around how many people actually share from Xbox and use that feature in that way had something to do with them making the decision they made?
Okay. To answer all of these questions, I can talk from my experience, right? It sucks that feature would be going away. It's a feature that I use to, show my clips. But I do it. I download it to my phone and then I send it from my phone. So it really doesn't affect me. I've probably never ever sent anything straight from Xbox anyway.
That's what I'm saying.
Right?
Yeah.
So if you're talking about $1 trillion company, and you would hear people say, well, other companies aren't doing this, other people haven't removed this stuff, other people aren't $1 trillion company. And the reason how you become $1 trillion company is not by giving money away. That's not how you become successful in business. We all know that the most successful people in the world are the most stingiest people in the world. But King, Bill Gates gives back to charity and he has a write-off. Shut up.
Yeah.
All right. It's a way to wash your money.
Tax deductible.
He doesn't pay taxes. You pay more taxes than he did.
Yeah.
Last year, which is a shame.
Yeah.
It's not true.
It's crazy.
Damn
Yes,
sure
yes,
it's true.
yes.
He probably paid nothing. and you paid everything.
Yeah, and King's not even talking about percentage wise. You might have actually paid more actual
More
dollars.
actual
in tax.
dollars.
Yeah.
And cents. Absolutely.
Exactly. I'm talking.
Absolutely.
I'm keeping it. I'm keeping it a
Well,
buck.
they've and that's going to what you're saying, right? Is like they've been gaming this system for so long, they know how to do it. That's why they're so rich.
Yep.
They know the game.
That's how it is.
That's
So
right.
you have a $1 trillion company and a $1 billion company, and the $1 billion company wants to be a $1 trillion company by forcing $1 trillion company to pay $1 billion company. $1 trillion company looks at $1 billion company and says no. Why? Because we have Chat GPT, and I asked the AI and Chat GPT, what's a financially good move? And Chat GPT says cut ties with you because the percentage of the people that are using this feature on the Xbox is 0.00111012. And they could probably give you a list of all the people that actually do it, what times they do it, and what would they be missing.
And count
if
it
they
on
lose
one
those
hand.
People. Right. Now, that's what happens when you have trillions of dollars. You have people that are smarter than you tell you how your money should be paid, right? And should be spread out and how it brings back more money. They gain absolutely no more subscribers. They don't gain any more clients by picking up this unit. They actually talked about the people that are actually using this piece of tech or software that's costing them money. They looked at the cost, 500,000 a year. It's not worth it for 0.000.21.
That's a
of
Battletoads
the,
a year, ladies and
base.
gentlemen. A Battletoads
Right.
a year. I'm
So-
just saying.
Yeah, no, it's a nonsensical argument to worry about said $1 trillion company versus paying $1 billion company. Obviously, $1 trillion company didn't see the benefit in doing so.
Yep.
When there's a benefit, and there was a benefit before, then the metrics came out and showed that it wasn't. You cut feature. That's it. That's just how it goes.
Yep.
If you're doing that in your household, you cut features out of things in your household that is not a benefit for you. If you're
Yep.
buying milk every week for your children, right, and only one child drinks the milk, you go from getting a gallon to getting a pint
That's right.
to get into exactly what you need. And then if that kid doesn't drink the milk at all, you stop buying said milk,
All together.
right?
That's
It's
That's
about a
Yes,
need
yes,
basis.
yes.
Come on.
And by the
So-
way,
so-
with the
and
milk
to-
with the milk analogy, you know, Microsoft is giving you soy milk already. You could go already do it in another method, in another way. It's not like
Yeah.
you remove it and
Yes.
you're done.
You don't
can still
lose.
do it. You can still do it on your phone.
And,
go ahead,
and
Overboard.
the other thing here is that this is, in a way, it's a negotiation, right? Because if Twitter just comes, because if you've noticed this, you've seen this with Twitter Blue, right? They came out and said it's $6 a month. Now you know what? It's $15 a month. Now I think it's $8 a month.
Yeah.
Right. So you're just gonna walk up to these other companies, and again, we all saw that and said it was stupid, and we said no, most of us, right? So you're just gonna walk
Thank
up
you,
to these
Everboard. Thank
companies.
you. I appreciate you,
We
brother.
just had
we're
this
just gonna-
conversation yesterday with ILP too, matter of fact. you know?
Right. So you're gonna walk up to these companies and say, guess what? I'm deciding to charge you for this now because, and they're just supposed to say, okay, get down and lay down. What's to stop
Yeah.
Elon next month from saying, I need $1 million a month?
True.
Coming
Given-
from the dude to say charge him more?
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Right.
Come on, man.
You know?
It feels like
So-
if you give him an inch, he'll take a mile at this
Right.
point.
So
right?
so
He got
and
rockets
again,
blowing up in the backyard.
Yeah.
He needs to do what he got to do. I'm not
All I'm
judging
saying
that, man.
is,
Get that $1
if-
trillion company. Let's go, Elon.
a lot of
right.
companies are gonna say no, and then Twitter is gonna have to adjust their prices.
Yeah.
And if they
Right.
come back down to earth without exploding, then then people will use the service again. That's
There you
all
go.
this is. This is business.
No, absolutely, absolutely. Let me catch up on a few super chats real quick because there have been a few that are coming in. The chat is high. It's lively. They're
We
doing
almost got
crazy things in there.
200. Let's go.
We in there, baby. We in there. Mr. Joanna Dark with a $2 super chat saying shout out to the King David and Silent Cypher. Thank you so much for being here, man. Shout out to you, good sir. Always a great member of the community. Always chatting with him. He's a good dude. Oh, and we have the man himself, the purveyor of the Dragon's Den, Mr. 108 Dragons in here. He's saying, I get the point of the features. He's here with a $5 super chat. Thank you, sir. He says, I get the point of the features, but let's be real here. Since Elon took over, Twitter has gotten worse, and we don't want to be jerked around, so why would Microsoft feed into it? Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's the principle of it. That's why I'm okay with them not doing it.
It got worse and more expensive.
Would have gotten worse though, really.
Yeah.
It really has. I'll tell you, because
Yes.
in many instances, the things that I used to be able to do, you can't do anymore. Sometimes emojis aren't allowed to just be on there anymore. Sometimes you search for somebody and they don't pop up anymore. It's
How are
very
your
sporadic
DMs
now.
loading these days?
Not so good.
Well, you gotta
It's
update.
weird.
You
It's
gotta.
weird. And he's been firing.
Updates, man.
He's
Go-
been firing the devs left and right. So I mean,
Yeah.
they
Well,
used to
you
keep this
gotta
thing
fire
afloat.
people that's ineffective.
Sure,
Like,
sure.
It's
Yeah,
gonna be
and-
turnover when the boss show up.
And it did sound from all the reporting that we saw on that, it did sound like he was trimming the fat and not just getting rid of people like unconsciously. He was looking at the numbers, he was looking at the reality of the situation.
Yeah.
He made cuts accordingly.
Yeah.
Again, it's a thing, right? Of like people saw the articles. If it bleeds, it leads. People
Yeah,
didn't look
true.
into the details.
True.
So like there are justifications for some of the things he's doing.
Yeah.
But there are plenty of things where you can be like, okay, I get what you're doing, but you gotta slow down. Like adopt these things slowly.
Yep.
Look at Xbox One, right? Where they came out and they're like, hey, it's gonna be internet only right off the bat. And people freaked out because at that point in time they were ahead of the curve.
Yeah, the messaging was ridiculous at the time. Yes, but
Look
the
at them, though.
underlining
Everything is online.
exactly the underlining method was real. I will say
Yeah.
to the point of those with outrage, which I'm not one of those, but I will say, Twitter Blue, and I'm trying it for a month, seeing how it works for the channel. So far, I actually like it, but they go, "Oh, you can edit your tweets." No, you can't. You can edit 1 out of 3 because the others won't let you edit them. They're not stable yet. It's kind of wishy-washy. So there's some growth that needs to be done there. There's some growth that needs to be done there.
You're
We have-
ahead of the curve.
You know, it is what it is. We have Doovie in here. Oh, and by the way, if you don't like Twitter, we have the old CEO. He's got Blue Sky Social Media, which literally looks like Twitter. It's out there. It's coming out soon. Only 250,000 people have gotten in so far. But he literally has created
I'll pass.
a Twitter when he left to go do this. It's invite only right
Why
now.
wouldn't you? That's
Exactly.
all he knows.
Doovie
Give me
in
your
here
money,
with a
then
$2
we
super
gonna make
chat.
another.
Thank you so much for being here, Doovie. He says, I use the OneDrive for my clips, and it retains the quality. As do I, sir. Absolutely. I've been doing that forever.
That's
It
too
works
much work.
absolutely perfect.
I can't do it. It's too much.
Then we have
that's
Grumble in here with $2 super chat saying, just to show some support to the channel, thanks, Asante. Thank you, sir. I really appreciate you showing your support.
Blessings.
With your support and everybody's support, we are doing. I literally just looked at my DM real quick and saw Sean LeBray showing us some new interesting things. It's about to go down. We're excited for the new changes in the looks. He's in the lab working. It's a beautiful thing.
As we discussed that, I'm looking at 181 people watching right now.
Yes, sir. Yes,
and I'm
sir.
only seeing 101 likes.
Oh, please, come on.
Hit that like
Hit
button.
the like
Get it
button.
up.
Yes.
People,
yes.
we have this conversation. every week.
subscribe, share it out.
You know
Let
what
a
to
friend
do.
know that a friend should know.
Tell a friend to tell a friend that it's them again.
That we back here
Yeah,
again. That's
we
right.
back
That's
at
right. We once again
bro,
108
tell a
Dragons TV with another $2 super chat saying we getting tweets 14 hours late. Come on. I do
Stop
feel you,
that, man. Stop the cat.
Some,
Man,
some
come
of it-
on,
some-
man.
Some of it is bad.
Update.
Some of
Go
it
to
is
your
bad.
Play Store and hit update. You know that thing actually works, right? You probably have
You probably have an old version.
automatic
outdated
updates
version.
off.
Yeah,
Fix
probably,
it.
Yeah.
Probably. Hargeet Chini with a $10 super chat in here. He said it isn't about Xbox. It's Microsoft who's using Twitter data for their ad platform. They make billions on that platform. Xbox is just a casualty. If you make money off of Twitter, you should pay. And you know what? That was my reason for getting Blue. Hey, I use Twitter to promote, and it seems to work a lot because, as you can see, there's 180 people in here right now. So as much as I have questions about how Elon moves, his platform is assisting me, so I'm like, I'll throw some ducats in there and see how it's working. I have my gripes, I have my pluses and minuses, but
I would say as someone who has been a long-time customer of Elon,
yes,
he's gotten enough of my money.
I've never see. This is the thing. I've never gave them a nickel, dime, penny, a dollar. So what I plan on doing is, getting Twitter Blue to do my thing, baby. I'm gonna get them.
You know what though? I have so many subscriptions that I don't even know that I'm still paying for.
It's
like,
a problem.
Like Paramount
it's a problem.
Plus.
Yeah.
I'm not using that.
Yeah.
You gotta get that Rocket. It's Rocket something.
And
cleared
it
up my whole thing.
consolidates all your stuff. Yeah.
There's
Cleared
a
up
lot
everything.
of people getting money from, like, I use my Game Pass subscription every month and my Netflix every month.
Yep.
But some of these other ones,
Yeah.
they're taking me for a ride. So if I can allow that, I can allow Twitter. But
They got
I
you
don't
on
know.
the set it and forget it.
Maybe
That's what they got you on. They got you on the set it and forget it.
yeah,
category.
I don't know. I haven't gotten to that place where I've broken down and said I want to get that. Now, I wish they wouldn't tie the blue check mark to it. It's very weird.
Yeah, I wish I could remove the blue check mark. It
want
makes
that
me
blue
feel
check
weird
mark?
about that. Yeah, I don't want that.
No, I don't want it. I
I don't
don't
want it.
I want that. I want that check mark, man.
Yeah.
Listen,
I want
wanted
the
check
gold
mark
check mark.
before.
It looks
Oh,
party.
I wanted the check mark before, and
But you
that
want
was
it in the
before
right
Elon
way.
purchased it. It was like, no, I didn't care. I don't care how I get that check mark.
Okay.
Listen, I'm a 100% fraud. I don't care how I get that check mark.
I just want it.
Get that check mark. So now I could pay for it.
Yeah.
I know it lost its meaning to a lot of other people. A lot of you guys that thought you were special, then you looked over and saw everybody in the club with you. They didn't care. They paid just to
Thought
get
you had
it.
a friend.
They didn't care. So it's
Yeah.
kind of like E3. Is the blue check mark relevant anymore now that
Yeah,
there's
that's the
everybody
question.
else in?
That's the question. Oh man. Oh, that's terrible.
Give me that
And
check
it's
mark.
too soon, there, King David. E3. I'm still.
It hurts. It
I'm still
burns.
sulking. I'm still. That's why I bought my PC. I'm like, I'm gonna spend my E3 money on a PC. Cause screw you, E3. I was gonna go this year. Anyway.
I'm spending mine on that new Axis Ally.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
The
get that
ROG.
rig out.
The ROG
Oh,
Ally.
Yeah.
Brother, we gonna talk. We gonna talk because
Yes,
we're
sir.
gonna do it. We're gonna
See,
do
I'm
it.
gonna pre-order that because I feel like it's gonna be hard to get, but I don't know that I need it.
Actually, it's gonna be easy.
Oh, you need
It's
that.
at Best Buy, bro. It's gonna be everywhere.
You need
Which-
that.
Which
When
the
you
Steam
see a
Deck wasn't
situation,
everywhere. This is gonna be at Best
Yeah.
Buy. You could just walk in the
Yeah.
store and pick it
It's
up.
gonna be an impulse buy now that it's right in front of your face.
That's
Oh,
right.
not for that
That's
price,
right.
but
Yeah, we'll see.
Oh yeah, a lot of
it's
people are
still-
like, "Oh, I'm getting that," until they
Yeah.
see what that
It's gonna be at
MSRP
least,
is.
Yeah.
it's gonna be at least
Price roll up on the
base
screen.
price.
But-
At least $650.
But with that being said, though, like as soon, even with the price being higher, as soon as you see that thing in store in front of you, even if the price is still out there, it suddenly becomes that temptation. You get that itch to pick it up because you're like,
Yeah,
oh
but
God,
Me
there's
and
only
mine
two
are
of
happy.
them.
We happy right now. We just gonna,
When
we gonna
you-
stay happy. We good. It's all good.
When you walk into the dealer, you don't get an itch for a G-Wagon, right? Unless you got it like that.
Well, let's
So-
go.
tell
That's
the
right.
truth, shame the devil.
But-
Tell the truth, shame the devil.
I think
So
you can
you
agree
could
with
walk
me,
into
though,
the
that,
Best
You
like,
get the
Buy,
itch,
and
but it
like-
ain't gonna do nothing for you.
Can't wait for that side
but
of
for
the
us,
Don't
for
listen.
that
us,
itch is not gonna get scratched.
for us as
So-
for us as folks that are in electronics and we're really into it, we buy all the stuff, we really enjoy the stuff. It's a different game than talking about G-Wagon. Because for me,
No, I get it.
For me, I have no common ground with that. But if I walk into Best Buy and I see that sweet new webcam or that sweet new microphone that I can upgrade my system with, plants that seed. It gets me thinking about it.
All of a
So
sudden,
if
the
you
price
have a
is justified.
tangible item out
Yes,
there,
sir. Yes,
yeah,
sir.
exactly. Because you're
So,
like,
yeah.
well, I could use this all the time.
We are humans. We
Yeah.
justify the price on everything.
Hey,
Yes.
I will
we
tell you.
and
we
we
don't
find
need
whatever justification makes it good.
Yeah.
I will tell you that I was like, I'm content. My machine can do it. And then I saw that Cyberpunk Overdrive mode, and now I got myself
Yep.
a 4090 liquid cooled. It is what it is. I will.
It is
I will
what it
take
is.
all
It
See
the
you
works,
credit.
again in
man.
2 years when you upgrade the whole
Stop
thing
it,
again.
Mr.
But listen,
Everborn
my thing
Tell
is
him.
this.
Tell him. Lander.
I don't have money like Cypher, but when I go in that Best Buy,
Hey, you be quiet. I have
I
seen
see
you.
that.
He calls me on the phone. Yo, write this down real quick. He's at where you at? He's like, they know me by name. He gets in there. Oh, I want this. You hear him in the background. He's in New York. I want that. He's like, yo, tell me the specs. Which one's better than this? He leaves that store and a couple hundred has left his pocket. He has called me like at least 3-4 times that way, Mr. Everborn Saga. So I refuse to accept that slander on this show today.
Pocket watches.
All I'm saying is I am expecting that ally, like $650 might be the base, but nobody gonna want the base. Nobody got the $399,
bro.
Steve, listen, I'm expecting to spend a grip on that for the one that people want.
Yeah.
But let's be clear.
That is not impulse buy territory. That's all
let's
I'm
be
saying.
clear. Let's be
It's
clear.
still
for
enough
those,
of an impulse.
For those who are watching the Speeds and Feeds, when you come here, we try to give you as much factual data as possible. Don't let the marketing fool you. It's not twice as powerful as a Steam Deck. That is snake oil. It is more powerful, the deck, but not twice as powerful. They're throwing far more watts at the problem, and that just means shorter battery life. But anyway,
what is
real
going to
quick,
decide that
I'm
for
gonna tell
me?
you this: it's not TCL level of purchasing.
it is no, it's not.
Yeah.
No, it is not. No, it is
You're
not.
not gonna. It's gonna be at Best Buy, but it's not gonna be on the floor in the front.
No,
Not
it's
next
not.
to the
It's gonna be
popcorn.
behind the
This
glass.
is one of the
Yeah.
things
You're
where
gonna have to unlock
where they
it.
gotta help you to your car.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
That's it.
Real quick.
Tell them it's behind the glass. You got to call Thomas for the key.
You got to get the keys. That's right. Real quick, Mr. Slow Mo Backslapping here with a $5 super chat. Thank you so much, brother. We always appreciate you being here, keeping the chat nice and slanderous as you do. He says, "Well, this podcast is cool, and with just a click, you can get this for $100 Xbox gift card. Just click below with a neutral face." You know what I'm saying? Yeah, absolutely, sir. Oh, and before I move on to the next story, no cap.
No, we got one more from Dragons. We got one more from 108 Dragons.
Did I see where did I see one from? I don't see my thing is not updating on me. Let me
He
let
says
me read
ROG
that.
Ally all
Oh,
day.
ROG Ally all
ROG
day
Ally
one.
all
Yes,
day.
yes,
day
yes,
one.
yes.
Yeah.
And
day
when
one,
it comes when it comes out, I will look. I may or may not jump in. We shall see, because y'all will know I've become the handheld.
What's
guy.
gonna decide it for me is the drivers on the controls. Like, do they just work natively with Windows?
Yes, I was
And if
talking
they
to
do,
Mr. Joanna Dark about
then
that
that's
yesterday.
the thing that I.
Yes, he bought the Aya Neo and he's enjoying himself. I want a review on that, by the way, Mr. Joanna Dark. Like right now, Steam Deck does it because it's Steam and it lives within Steam. The minute you are outside of Steam, you're on your own and you have to go figure it out. If Asus has Asus, I should say, because that's how they want to be called, has discovered a way of getting ubiquitous controls everywhere, that might be the silver bullet.
That's
if
the holy
their
grail
UI is
for
good,
Windows.
that might be it for Windows. Oh, and I see Sycamore in here with a $10 super chat. Thank you, good sir. He says Everborn is most disrespectful guy I interact with, and I love it. Yes, he likes to be slanderous in a highbrow way, so he doesn't. So you don't know he's insulting you. That's what he likes. That's what he likes.
I don't want you to know you're insulted until 2 days later when you think about what I
think
actually
about
said.
what he said. That's right. That's right. And Mr. John Wolf in here with a $5 super chat saying twice as powerful equals 60 frame standard. Buyers beware.
Exactly.
Indeed, sir. Now, before we
Where
move
have I
forward
heard
with
of
another
60 frame
story,
standard before?
before we move forward with another story, I must say this, okay? I bought this to support my favorite podcast. I'm a podcaster. I have my favorite podcast, which is the Iron Lords podcast. But as I sit here with this thing on me, it's different, bro. I gotta be honest with you.
My God.
This may be the way I podcast from now on, bro. This is actually pretty
Comfortable,
damn
right?
cool. Like, I'm sorry. Let's put the product placement here. I'm convinced. This is really good. This is really good. All I need now is one of Steam Deck or one of these things in my hand, and I'm good for a while. This is actually pretty damn great. This is pretty good. So I gotta say it.
If you are not a single man, I recommend people order 2.
Yes, sir.
Because your wife will take it.
Take it automatically.
It is in my office,
Rip
and my
it from
office
your
door is
cold,
locked
dead
right
hands.
now. My office door is locked right
I'm
now.
telling you, it is.
Mm-hmm.
It is no cap. It's just because the product is, we
It's
we're
quite
partnering
good.
with Volari. That thing changes how I game. It really does. I'm not comfortable I'm not in a good space where I don't have my pillow. When I have my pillow, I'm able to sit there, put
Yep.
my arms down, rest and relax, and it takes the tension off my back, my spine, and my neck. It's genius.
Hey,
It's
you know,
genius.
people give you marketing and all that all day. I'm sitting here using it right now. It came in last night, right? The first time I'm sitting here, I am a believer, ladies and gentlemen. Right there, it's really good. It's really good. I'm excited to actually game on this thing now. This is really good. So let us move forward. But I have to say that people got to check it out. It's actually very very good. I'm sitting here going, yo, this is not bad right now. So had to throw that out there real quick. Let's get a little bit interesting with the gaming news, and we're gonna move quickly because we have about an hour left, and I want to be done at a reasonable time. Let's talk about PlayStation acquiring a team that they had previously said that they were working with ex Bungie devs. They haven't actually made a game by themselves under the Bungie, under the new umbrella of the new game studio, but a bunch of developers and devs from the original Bungie studio. And now they went from, well, we have a contract with Firewalk Studios to, hey, we bought them, right? Are
Straight
we?
out
Are
of
we?
Whole Foods, organic growth.
That's where I was gonna go with it. Are we? Are we sitting there going, hey, what's with this organic growth? Or like my first thought on that was, hey, whatever they did when they started their initial conversation has convinced them that, hey, these guys are actually pretty good. We need to have them on the team. This might be exciting for what's to come from them, because you still haven't seen hide nor hair as far as output from them. But they went from, hey, we have a contract, which makes sense because they were Bungie sister studio, if you will, and now they bought them right off the rip without actually seeing any content. Interesting times. I'll start with you, Mr. Silent Cypher. What was your first thoughts when you saw this?
I was very much in that Whole Foods organic growth mode as well.
Yes.
When I first saw it, I was like,
are you laying with dogs and catching fleas too there, sir? On these Twitter streets?
I'm not participating in the car crash. I'm just watching.
You're just
Come
watching.
to the hood, man.
Yeah, but that being said, no,
Yes,
I mean
sir.
it's hard not to see the irony in a situation like this. But you know what? Good for him, honestly.
Yeah.
And you know what? I think this situation actually opens us up to maybe a bigger narrative, right? Because if Sony's out here buying these things and they're starting to make these moves again, we've seen both Microsoft and Sony be in a very agile behavior for the last little while because of the acquisition, the ABK. So it gets me wondering if going into this event next week, if maybe we find out that this thing's passed through, and maybe they already know that. So Sony's like, well, we may as well start getting in on the game again, start buying some stuff. Because now they don't have to pretend like they're weak. If this thing goes through and they're not concerned with having to try and put up or shut up on it anymore, have, Jim Ryan out there giving the crocodile tears and stuff like that, I wonder if maybe this is a signal that this thing's done with and they're ready to move forward and start being aggressive again.
Interesting idea.
Yeah,
How about you, King David?
maybe when the Remedies proposal went out from the CMA, they was like, cats out of the bag.
Oh, damn it.
We
Give up
might
the
as
ghost.
well,
Let's get back
start
to
pulling
it.
the trigger.
Yeah.
Well,
King, what are your thoughts?
when I saw this, this is par for the course for them. Gobble up people that they already have in building after they've gave them the rundown. You working with us, we like how you work, we see the stuff that you have, you're more in line with where we're going. They're making multiplayer games to fit that live service mantra that's going forward that PlayStation fan base don't know about. This is setting up the bricks in order to go that way. Their relations are strained across the industry at the moment. So of course they will lean to somebody that's in-house, excuse me, to purchase. Could this company know something? Because see, what I've noticed about Sony is a lot of times where a company knows too much, they purchase them to shut them up, right? And could this be a thing where, okay, you know about this,
Mm-hmm.
it's cheaper to keep her, buy her, buy the studio to keep them quiet on certain things, like they did with the company that made what was that game where you die
Housemark.
a lot?
Yeah. Housemark.
Yeah, Housemark A.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they purchased them because they was telling about the console, and it was like, shut up, we got you, be quiet.
See, when I see this, it looks like Firewalk Studio looks to me.
You said
like
they bought Housemark for their silence?
Oh yeah. Remember, they were saying the game was crashing. It was this, that, and the third.
Yeah,
and Sony said it was the game, and Housemark was like, no, hell no, it's the console.
A week later, you
and
purchased
they
Quiet Your Mouth.
And you never heard anything like,
How do you get purchased for? It was hush money they paid. Wow.
That's right.
Yeah, but see, this is what people forget is Sony still had like 3 to 5 billion money for acquisition. They're going to use this money. They have to use this money before the end of the next quarter or whatever. It has to get done.
Its worth, its value.
Yeah, the money doesn't roll over, and if you're not spending money, you're not making money in this big money game. This is a big money game, so this doesn't come to me as any surprise. Them purchasing people that's already there.
Yeah.
Of course, you're going to spread the wealth of people that you have already been breaking bread with. You're just getting back your return on investment. That's all that is. Excuse me. If you see an upside with the company, get it.
It sounds to me like this Firewalk Studios is to Bungie as certain affinity is to 343 and Xbox. Like they are not really owning them, but it's in their best interest to make sure that they in pocket whenever possible. Like that's what it seems like the juxtaposition is here. Like based on all the information that's been provided and X Studio devs going back and forth and stuff. So it's really like you're saying, like they're just buying internally to keep them within the ecosystem. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, Sony is also kind of cut into Microsoft a bit, buying their support studios in the past, a few of them here and there. So maybe this is them going, before they get purchased out from underneath us, we brought them in-house a little bit to make this deal. Let's just go ahead and buy them. They don't cost that much. They haven't made a game. Can't cost that much. So let's just keep them in-house.
Let's get to 200 watching. We got 193. Let's get to 200 watching. Man. Share this out, please.
Please. Nice. Thank you. And we appreciate your continued hitting of that like button. If you haven't done so yet, thank you. Please. Thank you. Yes. We're here for another hour, and then we're all going to sit down with our popcorn and watch the Duchies. Yes, sir. Now, Mr. Everborn Saga, what are your thoughts here? You saw this happen. You've been out in them streets. You've been shaking them fleas off, you know. When all this happened, did you hear all the outrage of a consolidation, or how'd it go down?
No, but let's I like to come back down to reality, right?
Oh, like yes.
This is nothing in terms of consolidation. It's a small studio that hasn't done anything. Like, we laugh about it. We're definitely going to make fun of the people who are talking about talking to regulators about how buying things are bad, and fans that are running with that organic growth lie,
green label
not
organic
realizing
growth, baby.
Sony bought all of the studios that produce the things that you call them organic for, and the fact that they bought those things and they may have grown them, but then we turn around and ignore that Xbox is building up the studios that they bought, like Ninja Theory, like Tango Gameworks, and all of these people are opening new studios, growing organically, and we can ignore all that context and we can laugh at this. But in reality, it's a small studio. This is par for the course. They were making an exclusive for PlayStation anyway, and this studio was probably designed to be acquired because that is the way a lot of businesses realize the value that they are creating through some sort of M&A action. So you know, it's cool. I don't know how to feel about this until I see what they've actually made, and it sounds like they're going to be making another service game, because that is everything that is unannounced from Sony right now. All seems to be like they are third-party partnerships, and what's happening in first party is
they're not
pivoting
making a
towards
Deadpool
services.
game.
Well,
So,
while we're on the slanderous Sony point, let me slide right into the next one here, which is a lot more slanderous than we expect. You know what I'm saying? I think King David may have some things to say about this one, and this is that Sony has quietly been
and I
raising
might have
prices.
a T-shirt to sell you behind it.
Been quietly raising prices here and there. Now, this right here was they've been quietly raising prices on Steam games in certain regions. But if you are like us and you're in this ecosystem and in this gaming community, you've probably also seen the mag complaining on his Twitter timeline that yesterday's price is not today's price. He went to go buy a Dead Island, and they've updated that price on the PS5 like twice over. So it may not just be limited to Steam right now. And obviously Dead Island's not first party, but prices is rising, and they're doing it on the sneak tip. I will start with you, King David. What did you think? I saw your tweet when you saw this. When I saw this came out, what are your thoughts here, sir?
They're gonna get this work. Like, you want these games, man, you got to pay. If you're on a platform where you woke up one morning and the price is doubled, you got to look at the other platforms and say, is the price is the same over there? And if you look over there and you say, oh no, Xbox sells it for X amount of dollars and PlayStation sells it for this amount of dollars, well, vote with your dollars. Oh, I don't have an Xbox. Well, you the idiot. Because if you're the gamer, you're supposed to have everything. Financially,
and let's be clear, your uplift is not even $500 like that. Like I was saying this on the show a couple of days ago. Like I can see why people cloud stream now. It's as convenient as Netflix. You don't even have to put the $500 in. You could dip a toe in there, see how you feel about it. If you don't, you move on, right? If you like it, maybe you invest in the hardware.
Well, so some games you're not able to cloud stream. You need to have local hardware.
Yeah.
I'm going to implore all gamers, stop limiting yourself to a box. Stop picking sides in plastics. We have no loyalty as gamers. Our loyalty is to the games, sir. To the games.
That's right.
And if we can get said game cheaper someplace else, as a gamer, you owe it to yourself to go where it's cheaper.
As a human being,
we are saving money.
As a worker,
But King, what about supporting the devs?
To hell with the devs.
But
they already
you gotta support the devs, King.
Who?
The way Everborn said that,
emulate as much as possible.
It made me go.
What are you talking about?
The way Everborn said that, it reminded me of Jerome, put on that Bobby Womack. But kid,
listen, I emulate as much as I possibly can. I don't care. I'm not sitting here saying that they're not supposed to get paid. Go get paid. These big companies are getting a service. Put your game on Game Pass. If you're so worried about money, call Sony and make sure that you get your games inside Sony service or get inside Game Pass or put it on Luna. I don't care. You better be where I'm at because I'm not buying anything. All right. So unless I love it, and I'm not loving it unless I try it. All right. So don't.
And you're not trying it unless the price is right. So there you go. That's
I'm not trying it if it's not where I service, where I patron, where I put my money at. My money goes every month to Game Pass and every year to Sony service. That's just how it happens, right? If you're not there, I don't care. That's it.
So that's a T-shirt right there. But I think that in the community, we have to take care to remember that we are customers. We are not free marketing interns, right?
What?
We are not supporting charity organizations.
I'm wrapping this chain and I'm not getting paid.
But we are customers. So as a customer, they have to serve your needs, right? And it's not up to you to make a reason. Like, listen, you decide what your own value chain is for what you feel like is worth getting, but like just it's a point that I wanted to make. You don't have to defend any of these companies, right? You don't have to cheerlead them. You are a customer.
Yep.
So just make sure they're serving you, is all I'm saying.
They serving you L's. Because if you go over there in that game, it's double the price. You need to get up out of that water. It's hot. Yo, I'm gonna tell you right now. I didn't order that. If they brought you your steak, and your steak, and it was double the price. Excuse me, sir. The bison is now double. But you can take that back to the kitchen, there, partner. I ain't order that. That's not what I'm looking for. So, I wish they would. Like, I wish they would try to serve me something double. It's just not gonna happen. And I don't even know what's the controversy. Don't buy it. It's just, that's it. It's just, I really want the game. Go someplace where it's cheaper. That's all.
That's right. When I saw this story, my first
But that's
thing
what I
is-
mean. You the customer.
That's right. When I saw this, because this story is specifically geared towards PC gamers, the first thing I thought was, you know that Epic Game Store has been doing their best to try and cultivate customers by giving them free games, right? On PC. And what's the PC gamer go? If it ain't on Steam, I ain't doing it. You want to see how PC gamers do? Raise the prices. I'm sure there'll be a lot of Jack Sparrowing going on real quick on that point.
To that end, you know what's something PC gamers never do with regards to the Epic Store?
What's that?
You know what they never do? They never say, but is that sustainable?
Exactly.
That's true. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
When they're getting free copies
Never
of GTA
once have you
5
seen
and
a
all
PC
this.
gamer say
That's right.
some nonsense like
That's
that.
I know
right.
it's not sustainable.
Yeah.
Yep.
But is
why
that
do
your
you
problem?
care?
I know it's
That's
not
an Epic
sustainable.
problem.
I know it's not sustainable. Sony putting prices up in regions. You're gonna see how quickly those prices start to fall. You're gonna get a discount later. It don't matter. If you want to go to Dubai and you want to charge people in Dubai extra couple of dollars, you'll find out in Dubai your market share is gonna shrink. It's just simple as that. Wherever you want to play that region game at, and they look over and they see that it's not working, it's not functional, you're attacking somebody's economy, you're attacking their prices, you're going to find out very quickly in that region you will not become popular, you will not be a popular thing, and you will shrink your fan base. Keep doing it, Jim. I'm down with everything you're doing. I want to see you do more of this. Do that here, please. Do that here in this region. You won't. You know why? Because we will definitely kick you right off the island. Bye. You've been voted off, Jim. You know what not to do.
Yes. Silent Cypher, I know that these days you play more on console. You're more a console player, but you have history in PC as well. You know, you remember the days where Epic and all these other game stores are like, please join us, please just join us. Here's some free games, join us. And the troglodytes in the PC community are like, well, but you're not on Steam. I have to install you? Ha! And they would not even bother getting the free game for it. These guys are going, well, we are prestige. You will pay for our prices. What do you think? Do you think that the PC gamers will be like, well, these are bangers? Or do you think some Jack Sparrowing is about to happen here? I'm just saying. What are your thoughts?
Them hot bangers. I think it's going to be the same thing we've been seeing for the last little bit, right? Is some people are going to outlash, they're going to freak out about it, and then on the download, they're going to jump into it and they're going to play it, and then a couple months later, they're going to be like, yo, this is actually really good, by the way. They're going to start justifying that payment after they were throwing a fit about it previously. But with that being said, I mean, yeah, I remember those apps. I remember the launchers and stuff, and I was one that was like, no, you can kick bricks. I don't need 7 extra launchers bogging down my computer. And that being said, obviously, like, some of them have kind of fell to the wayside. The main dominant ones have stayed. I got myself plenty of those free games back in the day on the Epic Store when they were offering
300 games and counting on Epic Game Store.
Yeah,
and I've
yeah.
paid
Why
for
wouldn't
maybe
you
12.
jump in?
Yeah.
Like they did the same thing that we saw Game Pass do early on, right? Like, they wanted to build their infrastructure, they wanted to build that ecosystem. So they came out there guns a-blazing. They're like, hey, we'll give you this. We'll give you this for free. We'll give you this. You see it with all these companies when they start off. Like, Vudu did the same thing back in the day with streaming movies.
Yes.
I remember felt like it was every other week I was getting 4 or 5 extra free movies just because they were trying to promote and push.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, if you...
mode, you know.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Yep, you're actively engaged in trying to increase those numbers as fast as possible.
Yeah.
And yeah, you're going to lose some money on the front end, but that's the expectation. You're
Yeah.
putting that investment in because it's going to give you an ROI, right?
Yep.
Mhm.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, in regards to them raising their prices, just like I was thinking about those apps back in the day, they can kick bricks. Like if I see that price point hit here, I'll do the same thing that I've done for a long time now. Is like, okay, I'll wait until your game's cheaper.
Exactly.
I'm not going to give you a full $70 if I don't feel it's worth it. And you can't advertise it to me one way or another and pretend like you got me hook, line, and sinker. I'm not going to go for that.
See, I honestly think that they misconstrue their capabilities in the PC space. On the console side, they got you because you bought that plastic box that can do nothing but play the games that they are releasing for you to play. You don't do that. You're basically you've invested $500 in the paperweight, right? So they can say, hey, this is $70 now. You don't like it. You're basically looking at a paperweight, and you'll eventually invest. On the PC side, launchers, as you're saying, are a dime a dozen. You start saying that, and there are legal launchers, there are illegal launchers, there are different methods of getting access to things. They're gonna learn that PC gamers ain't about that life. They will spit in your eye rather than conform to what you need them to conform to.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
PC Master Race is a salty batch.
Indeed.
And if you throw something at them that they don't think is a financially viable option, they'll tell you to kick bricks. They'll tell you to go find something.
I would use a different word from batch that also starts with a B, but I would
PG-13, sir.
No, we're giving Slow-Mo and his PC clan a little bit too much credit here, and I don't like it.
Give me 1 second. I'll be right back.
Oh, no worries, brother.
I don't like it. I don't like all this PC praising.
Yeah. Well, hey,
Talk about some console stuff.
Hey. And on that point, I will reiterate, you might start seeing some PC content on this channel. I see the man, Mr. John Wolf in here. He and I have been in the lab doing a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little cooking, little thought-provoking ideas. You might start some PC content on this channel. The stuff that maybe. Maybe you're watching some other shows. Maybe you're listening too long to Everborn Saga, who's bemoaning the driver installs and all these ridiculous madness that died in the land of Windows 95.
Yeah.
Maybe it's time we.
Shout out to
maybe
Greg
it's time
Miller,
we. Yeah. Exactly my point. Maybe it's time we take y'all to school a little bit and show you that maybe some of those things are things of the past. But anyway, go ahead, sir.
All I'm gonna say real quick, just to defend Everborn a little bit on this, because I get it. If there's the option for me to change those things, I go in, I start tinkering around with it, then I find out I've made it play worse than it was playing originally.
Sure.
That's annoying.
Sure.
But the one that always kills me is like, I got ready to restart the computer real quick before we came into the show. And it told me that I have an update again for the computer. I'm like, no, I just updated you like 2 days ago. Stop it.
To be fair,
every time it happens, it's like a half hour.
Every time I turn on my Series S, there's a new update as well. But which you could say it's because it's Microsoft, because they are controlling both PC and the console. So it could be a Microsoft problem. But every time I turn my Series S on, I have to give it 5 minutes because it has to do the little update before I get to play my game. But we'll talk about that real quick. Stuff like that you're discussing here, Silent Cypher. I will say you download GeForce Experience. It sets your settings for you from jump.
And 3.5 hours later, you'll be good to go.
Listen to this guy.
You'll be good to go in 7 hours after you find the right.
We have the big rich. What is it? The real big rich. In here with a $5 super chat. Thank you so much. He says, great show, guys. Thank you so much for being here. Your support and you being here and joining the community and joining the chat keeps the show going, keeps us going strong. I appreciate y'all. Let's move on. And this will be our Sony block, the last Sony story of the day. Let's move on to this one. And this is more, had me scratching my head. I know that not everybody's into the VR stuff, and we've heard time again how VR did not succeed in PSVR 2 has not succeeded to the extent that they wanted them to succeed. But this one made me just go, really? What are we doing? This to me equates when Cortana, remember Microsoft had Cortana and they were pushing it real hard, right? And then they kind of let Cortana slip. And here we are in the world of chat AI and GPT and hey, had you had Cortana, don't you think you'd be really good, right? You let Cortana die before you had an actual brain for her. It is what it is. There's your smoke. PlayStation launched PSVR 2 with 95% of other games, third-party games, barely had anything for themselves, right? And didn't port one of their greatest games, which was Dreams, right?
Yep.
And they closed Dreams, and now they're putting Humanity on their PlayStation Store, like day one. Which, hey, I'm not giving Humanity smoke, because this tells me, and for those who don't know what Humanity is, it is the makers of Tetris Connected. I have been on record saying that Tetris is one of the objectively best games ever made. If you haven't played Tetris Connected, you should. It's actually leaving Game Pass, if I'm not mistaken. Awesome game. They're putting this on their service day one. Does this not then say, as much as they say they hate our games should not be on the service, we value our games, we're not going to put it on day one, they're slowly dipping their toes into the day one waters of their subscription service. My question is, where's Dreams, ladies and gentlemen? What happened to that? You let that die before your PSVR showed up, and now you're trying to use Humanity, because this also has a PSVR component that you'll be able to put on your face. But it's day one on their PS Plus premium subscription, which I am a member of, I'm a subscriber of, and to be frank with you, every time I scroll through the list, I'm like, this thing has a lot of games. Why don't I play more of this? I did that yesterday when I saw all the games they were adding. But Silent Cypher, I don't know if Humanity has been on your radar. They had a demo not too long ago. Is this interesting to you? Are you planning on playing it? You can play it flat, or you can play it VR.
I might play around with it a little bit at one of my friends' houses. Like I'd mentioned previously, like I never picked up a PS5. I've yet to do it. Personally, I'm holding out until they get a Slim, because I don't need an Eye of Sauron in my entertainment center.
He doesn't need the Eye of Sauron in his entertainment center. Wow.
But yeah, I mean, I'll give it a go. But that being said, I think the thing that interests me more is the fact that they are dipping their toes into that, day one stuff. It's almost like maybe this is a sign of things to come.
Right? Because you hear a lot of the people on the streets talking about they've justified why it's not supposed to be there, and
they don't need day one. They don't need day one. No, that's for scrubs. That's no one needs that.
That's for degraded experiences on Game Pass.
Exactly. Until Sony does it, and then all of a sudden it's best thing since sliced bread.
I love that this man likes to he likes to be in them streets with like the rest of us. He does it smoothly, but still, he's in there. He's in there. King David, sir, I know you are a subscriber of the PlayStation Plus service. Has Humanity been on your radar? Will you play it?
Well, we have 195. I want 200 people. Please, give me 5 more people.
Absolutely.
Share it to 5 more friends.
So close.
And I tweeted it out, and
thank you.
Text people, watch the show right now because I'm on. Humanity. I know Dreams was a robust engine that gave a lot of power to the creative minds that were able to unpack it. Right, creatively in that space, I'm not that fantastic, right? I think a game built around Chat GPT would more fit me. But this game launching inside PlayStation Plus service is a test bed.
Yeah.
Sony is one of those children that need to see it and then they can emulate it. So a lot of times you get from Sony, not a lot of first, but you get a lot of monkey see, monkey do.
Yeah.
And they got a chance to watch Microsoft and they see the success of Game Pass, and you try to figure out how can I replicate, duplicate, and emulate that whole thing to equate to cash, right? Because Sony is cash driven. Remember, you're looking at $1 trillion versus $1 billion company, $1 trillion versus $1 billion company. And if $1 trillion company will do a lot of firsts, right? They will be a lot of firsts in that space because
They can
they
handle
have the
the
afforded
arrows.
luxury
Yep.
to fall down and
Yep.
still get back up.
Yep.
$1 billion company doesn't have the same afforded luxury of falling and failing. They can't
Yeah.
fail. They would never be who they are if they were able to fail as much as Microsoft has failed, right? So Dreams, very ambitious, very good tool. They take all that information, and I don't know if humanity is in the same vein of it. I don't know if it's has the same tools.
They
But you
do
said you
have
went to your
the
PlayStation.
they do have the building capabilities that Dreams did, but far less
Oh,
robust.
okay.
Far less robust.
So then they probably looked at Dreams and said, "How can we get to the core of what's doing more?" Right? Because with all tools, you're going to have a percentage that don't work and is not being used. All right, so how do we trim the fat to get to what's being used the most? And maybe humanity is the byproduct of that information. We don't know yet, right? But to launch it in your service means that two things. You're not too sure
we at
about the product.
199, ladies and gentlemen. We at 199. One
One more
person.
guy.
Oh,
One more.
Lord. Oh, continue. I'm sorry. Didn't mean
You
to interrupt you,
you
please.
yeah, you not too sure about the product. And two, you want to see if the product can stimulate growth inside your service,
Yeah.
right? Now, that's a metrics that's quantifiable because if it does stimulate growth because it's released there first,
I think
you're
we hit
willing
it.
to sacrifice sales in order to see said growth. And if a game like this is in a building phase, you want to see if it's stimulated particularly by this game, by the level of engagement with said game. And if the level of engagement versus purchase versus join in is higher and on the join-in side than the purchase side, you might have to look at your metrics a little bit different when it comes to that, right? And then I'm pretty sure that game will have components in it that you can purchase games, purchase stuff from inside the game, and then you start to see the microtransactions with said game and how the interacting happens with the community. So you said that your PlayStation VR had so many games in there being launched in there, and you just like, why am I not using it so much? 204, 204, 204. Let's go. Thank you, people. Thank you, everybody that's watching. Thank you, everybody that's been sharing out. Thank you for sharing it with a friend. They don't have that AAA banger game that makes you go to the platform reoccurringly and look and see what else they have to offer. You went there for an experience, had a couple of demos, and 95% of the games you probably had on some other form because you're a huge VR dude. You wasn't compelled to stay in the ecosystem because there was nothing that brought you there.
Had they kept
but the hardware.
Dreams, had they kept Dreams and ported Dreams to PSVR 2, I would have been day one. Because much like what
now
you
that
hear,
you Twitter blue, write that.
yeah, I may need to do that. I may need to do that because like much like how everyone is saying that Halo is being saved by Forge, Dreams is Forge. They are able to go to crazy places. Like they are building whole games in this thing, and it's not even that you have to port it to VR. It was in VR day one. So and actually it was in VR with bad hardware with your PSVR 1. When you finally have good hardware, you close that service before PSVR 2 comes out. It's mind-blowing to me. Like, why would you do that?
Because they saw that Fortnite creator mode.
Bro, but this is what
like,
I'm
we can't do
saying.
it.
Like, Dreams was Fortnite creator mode level. Like, if you see some of the people built actually Halo Infinite inside Dreams, and it looks and runs like.
Yep.
And I'm like, y'all close it before you release hardware to match its greatness? Ridiculous to me. Ridiculous. So that's why I'm the huge VR head, and I still don't have a PSVR 2. I need to be
You don't know.
convinced.
Dreams 2 might be on the back burner.
I hope so.
You know,
I mean,
being made someplace.
I mean,
You know,
it doesn't
possibly.
bode well because the co-founder of the company left shortly after they announced it was shutting down the Dreams project. You know, I hope that's the case because all those other games that came out with PSVR 2 that people have been enjoying and no shade on that, 100%. You know, not a lot of people have been getting into VR. So if PlayStation can bring you in and make it more of a console-like experience without the PC and all that, I think that's wonderful. But for someone like me who has played all those on PC, it makes it less enticing for me to rebuy all those things. Dreams was that one exclusive, unique thing that they did that could be found nowhere else. And I just think it's so sad that they closed it off before they had the chance to show it to shine.
The co-founder, Mark, he could have went to
He could have
start
gotten
off
the
another
bag and peace
company.
out. Yeah, he could have gotten the bag and he
Right.
would've done- Yeah.
You know, you get to the point where sometimes your voice is not being heard as much as it was heard in the grind growing into it, right?
Yeah.
And you, as a business partner, probably grew apart from your initial vision with your co-founder.
Yeah.
And you know, you say, well, you know what, I'm going to go start this thing over here. I'm going to do this thing over here. That is more how I felt Dream should be or is, right? And during these times where they close down certain things, we probably start to blame each other. Blame starts going around like it was your fault because you took it in this direction and I wanted it to be in this direction. So, you know, you have creative differences and you just drift apart from that.
Yep.
Yeah. So he might go make a company that is going to be that Dreams 2 that you want and actually pitch that product and actually get that product on shelves. You never know.
I was so excited.
I mean, it's
I was
hopefully.
so excited to see PSVR 2 with Dreams because then it would have reached the culmination, the fidelity you were looking for, as well as the creativity on display. A lot of people had already built really interesting things in it. It's just disappointing to me. But let us move forward.
You shouldn't be so disappointed because how long was it before Dreams came out and the PlayStation VR was out? Right?
Yeah, it took some
that
time.
had to be like at least
it took
right.
some time.
Some time. Yeah.
So there is a chance that
you're
we might
going to
see
get
it.
that next product later. Yeah,
you make a good point. I see Grumble in here with another super chat. He puts a $5 super chat in here and he says, whenever I hear people say PC is easier now, I later see those same folks talking about issues in drivers or crashes on a bad port.
Talk that talk.
To be fair, sir, I also am a huge lover of Horizon Forbidden West, Burning Shores, and I have hit every bug tree on the way down, including when I first started playing. Check my Twitter feed. Like, I'm an unabashed fan, but I don't think the bugs and the errors and the crashes are only regulated to PC these days, especially considering the fact that consoles
he just
are
hit us
PCs.
with a whataboutism. So
Consoles are
he could defend
PCs.
PC again. I see you.
It is what it
I
is.
see you.
It is what it
You're
is.
not slick, sir.
And we have Carl Andrews Jr. in here. Thank you, sir, with a $2 super chat. Appreciate you being here. He says one of the many
That sounds
great
like a
podcasts.
restaurant name.
Yep.
The man is giving us flowers and you going shade his name. What are we doing right
He
now?
just has an
that wasn't
iconic
a
name.
shame.
that
He could
rings
be the
bells.
owner of the restaurant. What do you
He
mean?
could be the owner of Carl's Andrews Jr., where our burgers are as good as our. No, okay, no, I will go.
Where our chicken slaps.
Well, there you go.
Listen, man, I'm trying to work out advertising deal, man.
He says it's one of the many great
advertise
podcasts that he
Carl
listens
Andrews
to.
Jr.'s burger.
We appreciate you, sir. Thank you. It's good that you're here watching and listening with us. Let us head to some Xbox talk. We have about 30 minutes. I think this is the time to get to that Xbox talk. And of course, Xbox had a lot of interesting things, most of which was slanderous. So we will start first and foremost with the talk that has been claiming these Twitter streets, which is how badly Hi-Fi Rush did, how people are supposedly upset at its performance, how they're going to pack it in because Hi-Fi Rush didn't perform as it should. And oh, by the way, in other news, Tango Gameworks is getting 140 more employees, and they're being allowed to open a new 150. My bad. They're being allowed to open a new studio, much in the way Ninja Theory has now been allowed to expand. Tango Gameworks is now expanding, but man, this game was not where they wanted it to be. This is a Square Enix. It did not perform to our level of quality. Who wants to start off on this one? Because man, it had a lot of twists and turns, and I know Everborn, you were in them streets with aggressive gifts on this whole thing. you can start.
Okay, so first, let me say, shout out to Jeff Grubb. What I am about to say is not about Jeff Grubb.
Sure.
It is about the reaction to Jeff Grubb's comments. And I'd like to have Jeff Grubb on the show one day.
Indeed.
You're about to get hurt, Jeff.
So
don't take it personally.
Is this a compliment sandwich coming? This is a compliment sandwich.
Right?
There you go.
And because these people, right? And this is my biggest issue with this whole thing, right? People have preconceived notions, and as soon as they hear something that agrees with their confirmation bias, the fact checking stops right there, right? They don't need context. They don't need to understand the bigger picture. It's like, this is a negative headline, and I'm gonna run with it because I already felt that way anyway. And which I expect that from a certain crowd. But my issue now is with the Xbox community on this, that loved the game, that already knew that they said that it was a success at the time, that looked at the Steam charts, that knew all of those things, that would tell you that this may need more context. They knew all of that, but they started crying right away, because every time PlayStation guys, and I'm not talking about Jeff Grubb, I'm saying the community. Every time PlayStation guys set a narrative,
yes,
exactly. That's what I'm saying. I'm not talking about him. Every time PlayStation guys set a narrative, Xbox guys fall for it, hook, line, and sinker every time, and then they run with it and they start crying about it. And this is not. I am not saying do not give criticism, because we are going to talk about criticism that is well earned and well deserved. But what I'm saying, if you do not have the analytical skills or the cynicism when you hear some bad news, and then you only get that cynicism when you hear the actual comments from the company, that's when you need more context. When Aaron Greenberg comes out and says this thing is a success by any metric that we measure, that's when you like, oh, it's a PR guy, you can't trust what he says. But you can trust a reset error random dude? That's what you could trust?
You see what I mean by laying with dogs and catching fleas?
You played
he is vexed, this
the
man.
game. You ran out. You was sharing game clips. You was comparing it to Forspoken. You
Tell him
did
why you mad,
all
son.
of that.
Tell him why you mad. Tell him
And
why you mad, son.
one article comes out, and now you lose your ever-loving mind. And over and over again, you see the same people doing the same thing and crying. So what I'm saying is, be critical, but be critical across the board, right?
Keep that same energy.
Stand on your square. Stop letting other people define how you think about a thing, right? Get the facts. Talk about things when you have the facts. And if you don't have the facts, you're just either talking out of your behind, or you are just following along like a lemming.
Oh my God!
So that's what I have to say on Hi-Fi
They said
Rush.
you wasn't gonna be slanderous, huh?
Whenever you're ready for the rest, because I got more. There's more. There's
20 minutes,
more
man. 20 minutes. Let's
bullets
go.
in the chamber. So there's a lot of other topics that came up this week. But please go ahead. I want to hear what everybody else got to say, and we can move on to the other nonsense that we saw.
Yes, sir. And quickly, so that I don't miss them, we have. Let's see. We have Echelon7 with a $5 super chat saying, everyone, please stream this on your phone, tablet, and TV simultaneously, and it will triple the metrics. Congratulations to the brother KSI. Thank you, brother. I appreciate you.
And hit the like button.
And hit that
That's
like
how
button.
you
We
do
have
it.
surpassed our average because the King and the Silent Cypher are in here, and due to that, y'all are here watching. We appreciate you so much. Continue checking us out. We love having this great conversation with the community. I see Grumble in here saying console bugs / crashes, not game won't play at all on console. Yeah, I think you need to go out in them streets and pay a little attention. There have been moments where I couldn't play Outriders for a couple weeks. I think some others had that same issue as well. I'm not slandering consoles. I'm just saying in general, consoles and PCs have kind of come close a lot more. So the things you see on one side, you see more on the other side as well.
Let's stay focused and not do the PC apologizing, sir. Let's talk about
the man is comparing the crashes to console and PC.
To get your game to work.
He said you gotta tweak and twerk. He said you gotta use what you got to get what you want.
You gotta
play on PC
to get your game to work. I'm so sorry.
But yes, no,
for me.
I appreciate I appreciate the conversation. I appreciate you. You can be wrong, and I still like you. Don't worry.
Thank you. I appreciate
You know what
wrong and strong.
That's right.
Pause.
So
you got me,
King David, sir. I know you
sir.
most likely were part of this. I know that they don't vex you. They don't get under your skin as it seemingly has gotten under Mr. Everborn Saga's skin. With all this talk. I think you may understand what I say when I say that I feel like sometimes people can't see beyond themselves. The metrics of, sales numbers or this and that, they didn't hit that target, so they must be doing badly or poorly or whatever. They can never put their minds in the pocket of a sometimes $3 trillion company and understand that their priorities are different than yours, or a $1 billion company, which, by the way, is Sony. So I feel like, based on the metrics that have been set by those two, by the market leader, if you're not conforming to that metric, then clearly you must be doing badly because the market leader says so. What are your thoughts on that, sir?
What? What did you say, Cuphead?
What?
Somebody's chasing likes. What? What? Staying relevant? What? No, Cuphead, not like this.
And there's our clip for the week, ladies and gentlemen. You will see that on Twitter soon enough.
That's amazing.
Listen, I get the same information everybody gets all the time. A lot of people think they're special, and it's cool. I'm not special. I'm just a regular guy. Get the same information with the same groups, but I get multiple sources. Multiple, right? I just don't report on it. Why? Because, we do have lordsofgaming.net, which is our website. I'm not a journalist that is a gossip journalist. That's just not it, right? I'm a fact journalist. Point of facts. And opinionated journalist. What is my opinion? Right? So, fact number 1. Hi-Fi Rush dropped with what? No promo.
No marketing.
Zero.
Whatsoever.
It was a self-drop.
Yep.
The metrics on a game that has no promo and that is a stealth drop, this is what you have. 0 expectations. You want to see what it's going to do. That's called a test. Right? So in a test, either you pass or you fail. By all quantifiable measures, thank you. It's a huge success.
Yep. You can check the Steam charts for that.
One thing.
Yep.
It did one thing that you can measure. It made you stand up, take notice, and talk about.
Absolutely. Yep.
Off of one drop. It had engagement numbers. Why? How do you know this is true? Look at YouTube and look at everybody's Twitter feed. Right?
Yeah.
So with 0 marketing, it was marketed by everyone. With 0 information about the game, you got tons of information of the game within hours of game release.
Yep.
No physical release either.
Yeah. I'm actually
No
waiting
physical
for that
release.
still. I'm still waiting for that. I want the physical release one of these days.
So the game sold the game had engagement, and the game was marketed.
Yep.
Now, you say if it's a failure. Wait, what? What you said, Parappa? No. Wait,
Oh my goodness.
okay, I'll answer it. But you sure you want me to use those words? You don't reward failure with buying more employees and
giving them a new
expanding.
studio. That's right.
Yep.
Listen, some people do things to get traffic that way. What's more controversial? Hi-Fi Rush is a failure. You're going to have people talking, saying, "What are you talking about? Are you crazy? No way, man." They're going to argue a point that is nonsensical. Because to your eyes, to your ears, you can see and you can hear that it's a hit. It's a great hit. It's a hit. It's probably the only hit Microsoft did this year.
True.
Right?
Yeah.
From all the stuff that you was waiting for, you wasn't waiting for this, but you played it and you knew it was a hit.
And it's an
Right?
unasterisk
You know
hit.
it.
It released perfect. It had no patches. It had no marketing, and it was still a banger by every metric on even other platforms. It was everywhere. It's the one that you can
When
say
you
no
have
asterisk. Yes.
When you have the other team upset that this game isn't on that platform, that's how you know it's a hit. So, again,
You had people saying this is a Sony game.
I just say
That's
You
what
had
they
people
said.
You
Yeah,
had
I
people
know.
salty that it wasn't coming to Sony's platform. Yes, I remember that. too.
exactly. They were looking for it to show up. I just say this to say, I don't care about people trying to get views or likes or whatever. I don't care. That's what you're in the business for. You're in the business for information. But I say this, sometimes when you are in that level of journalism, that type of journalism, you remember you got to take the good and the bad.
Yeah.
So again, I'm an opinionated journalist, right? So this is my opinion. I hope my opinion doesn't offend you and hurt you.
Yeah.
And I'm a facts-based journalist that deals in facts. From what I see and what I hear, it's a hit.
Yep.
That's a fact.
Yep.
Don't be upset with me.
Yep. No, 100%. 100%. I just think it's so hilarious that it went from it's a hit, we love it, it's great, to it didn't sell. They're gonna close up the shop. The company's over. It's over. Gloom and doom. Let's throw it away. It was hilarious. Absolutely.
Yeah,
These are the
hilarious.
things that
they're handing out
people-
applications in the street. Shut up.
They were running and writing articles about it. This was
Yes.
my issue.
Yes.
Somebody could say whatever they want on a podcast, right? King on a weekly basis says this is the last generation of Sony,
It's not coming.
right?
Yep.
That
This is what King
Where
says.
is Idle Sloth?
They do not
Sloth
go.
This man. He says PlayStation is done.
Right? They don't go and write articles from all of these different publications about it like it's serious,
Yup.
right? And maybe it is serious, but they don't do that, right? As soon as they heard this negative news, that's it. We have to. There's a 1% chance, so we got to take it as an absolute certainty.
Certainty. Batman. Absolutely.
And-
absolutely.
And by the way, even though Jeff Grubb clarified what he meant the next
Yes,
day,
yes,
saying he doesn't know about what metrics they're looking at,
Yeah.
Microsoft is a big company. There are a lot of executives there. Different executives could have different opinions about which way something should go. You could have had an executive that didn't think they should have shadow dropped.
Yep.
You could have had another executive that might not be on board with the
lost
Game Pass
10K
model. But those
employees
executives
and it was
don't
a
matter.
drop in
What
the bucket.
matters
So, yeah.
is what Phil is on board with, what Satya is on board with, and that direction, and the metrics that they set. So this is not about whether no one said that. This is about, you have to look at the greater context, and you have to look at the direction they're going, and you have to look at all the information around this thing instead of blindly taking the bait on a negative headline.
So
That's
okay.
what I'm saying.
Okay.
Think for yourselves, people.
I want to move on because we have 10 more minutes and I don't want to miss the community showcase. So we're going to leave the last 10 minutes for Khan, which is the title of the show. So I have to do it.
Even though that was the title of the show, we only give it 10 minutes.
You know, because there's just so much to talk about, brother. There's so much to talk about. But I know you want to get some things off your chest. I saw you posting a bunch of video clips about it. Basically, Lina Khan, for those who don't know, who don't drink deeply of this deal and all this as we do on this show. Basically, Lina Khan was brought in front of Congress to basically talk about a lot of the stuff that the FTC has been doing and a lot of the back and forth as far as the cases that they have been choosing to bring and the cases they've chosen not to bring. And during said hearing, there was a lot of ABK/COD talk. A lot of, dangling her feet over the coals real quick and seeing how she responds to it. And for me, it seemed like she had a lot of canned responses. Had a lot of, I plead the fifth, ladies and gentlemen, on that note. There was a lot of that. But Everborn, I know you spent a lot of times just copying and cutting.
3 hours.
And of course,
I watched the whole thing.
Of course, the minute we start speaking on the greatness that is the gift that is ABK that keeps giving us, we have the brother post up in here with a $2 super chat saying, shout out to the great panel and the great show. Thank you, good sir.
Let me explain something to the community.
Yes,
and
sir.
this is something you'll know, and you'll never be able to unsee it. You start talking about Unreal 5,
and
and
then Umbra
Umbra will
pops up.
show up. You
That's
start
right.
talking about ABK, Post Up will show
Post
up.
Up
You
will
start talking about Sonic, I will show up.
Oh, it's
and
like
you
in a
start
mirror,
talking about
like-
how terrible PC gaming is, then Slow-Mo or Keasante will show up. That's how that works.
we get a tingle. Like it's like somebody screams Thundercats and we gotta run.
My
You know what I'm
spider sense is tingling.
saying? Indeed.
So
I will help. I will ask
so-
you, Everborn, take that first bite of the apple. Give us a synopsis. How did this all play? Do you think this will move the needle?
So there's difference between how will it play and will it move the needle. I'll answer the second question first because I think that's what people really want to know. I don't think this changes the trajectory that it wasn't already going to go anyway. If you've ever watched one of these sort of House committee grillings, this is what happens. You go there, you're raked over the coals. Half the questions are from people that don't make any sense. Like one of the questions that was asked was why
Lord.
does the FTC
I'm sorry.
allow
I don't mean to cut you.
Google
I don't mean to cut you. I have to put Slow-Mo's chat here because, man, this is the chat of the day. He goes, oh, and additionally, if you say the words journalist mode, Everborn Saga shows up. Now, for those who don't know what journalist mode is, that is easy mode in every game. I'm sorry.
Yes, I played one game
Lord.
on that. However, I will say, Sifu is getting played on student mode. Because I don't got time for that.
Shoot, Seafood should be getting
right
played
now.
on baby mode, and it'll still kick your butt. I'm sorry. Continue. Move forward. That game is hard.
Ghostwire Tokyo is being played on normal, but Sifu, that's journalist mode all day, and I don't apologize. Now, so about this thing, like they asked them, why does Google allow apps in their stores that are built using SDKs? This is the kind of nonsensical question that you see because they don't really understand these markets. That being said,
I think that's an uplift. Usually they ask, what is an SDK? But that's neither here nor there. Continue. I've seen them ask dumber questions than that.
Being said, though, these things are sort of on the record now, right? Like Lina Khan is on the record saying that their job is not to protect the market leader, which is, I think these questions were very pointedly asked so that when Microsoft is defending itself in front of the ALJ, Judge Campbell, if it needs to go that far, or in front of a federal court, if what it looks like is going to happen, because we know the Axon FTC thing. That's another thing. That Axon FTC ruling versus FTC ruling came out from the Supreme Court this week as well, which allows companies to challenge the constitutionality of the administrative law process. Right.
For those who want it in dumbed down terms, that's a stop dragging your feet clause. There's none of that no more. There's no dragging of feet anymore because of that. Yes.
If you're going through this administrative law process, that means you're going to the FTC's in-house court, and when you go through that, you can go through a court case. The judge will decide, and the judge can either say the FTC was right or throw the case out, but then the FTC can turn around and say, we don't care what the judge says, we still want to block your thing, and then you get to appeal to a federal court, which would have the final say, but that whole process could take multiple years. And so Axon challenged the constitutionality of that. The Supreme Court said, yes, you can challenge it, but now they have to go to another federal court, which I'm sure they will do in short order. So I say all this to say, Microsoft specifically went to senators or got it in front of them somehow to ask Lina Khan very specific questions. I do not think this means that, Lina Khan is in trouble at her job, because she serves at the pleasure of the president. And I don't think the president going into an election year is going to say, I'm going to fire this guy because of Republican pressure. I just don't think that that's a thing. So I don't think it will affect what she does. I do think it will affect those court proceedings, but it was spectacular to watch, like a video game acquisition being brought up. And again, Lina Khan is on record saying, no, it is not their job to protect the market leader, which is effectively their entire case.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
If you read the complaint, it is about saying that Microsoft would have an outsized competitive advantage against the market leader, and that is literally defending the market leader. So we will see what happens. The only thing I will say to people for this, attack, I think the FTC is wrong in this one. Attack the argument.
Yes.
Don't attack the person. It's
Absolutely.
too many personal attacks on this person is just trying to do a job. Whether you agree with that or not, I don't agree with her. But let's keep it to the facts. Let's keep it to the process. Let's not have this be about the person. That's it that I got.
I agree with you, sir.
Since we only have 10 minutes.
Great point on that. Victor Alstein here with a $2 super chat saying, shout out to the panel. Great show. Shout out to you for being here and watching, sir. Thank you so much. Silent Cypher, what is your thoughts on all this? I know you may not drink as deeply of the FTC juice as some of us do around here, but yes, them videos were all over the place. Did this hit your radar? Are you even plussed, or are you non-plussed, as they say?
Yeah, I mean, I dipped my toes in a little bit when things started off, and then I got a little bit desensitized. We were talking about desensitizing ourselves to games earlier. I feel like I did that to this case for a while, because it just...
So you're on that tip of wake me when it's done. That's where you are right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not going to lie. It's definitely like there have been some lulls in the situation. But that being said, I did see the video footage that came out for this week when they were targeting her directly. I think it was the senator from Tennessee.
There was a bunch of them. There's like 3 or 4 direct questions about that specifically, and working with other regulators, they were clearly talking about Microsoft. But yeah,
and that's like I see that and I'm like, okay, good. It's good to get it on record. It's good to specify and make her state like we're not here to defend this specifically, because then you've got that ammo for arsenal later. And I think that's good. I mean, get her on the record, make sure that you've got your butt covered when it comes to these type of things, because then when you do finally get to the finality of this thing, you can show your case. You can be like, even here they state these things, and hold their feet to the fire in that situation.
Absolutely. And I will let you close it out there, King David. I know you pay attention to all these that you guys talk about on ILP every week. what do you think? Well, not every week when there's something of note to discuss, but this was interesting. You know, you did hear her speak on certain aspects of ABK that people have been thinking about for a while now. How did this hit you?
This is how you pay lobbyists.
Mm-hmm.
This is the best use of $100,000 I've ever seen in my life. The best.
Okay, then there you go.
This was the $100,000 question.
People got to eat, is what you're saying.
No. It's not people got to eat. It's how. Okay, everybody's been talking about they want to see Microsoft compete, right? Everybody's been talking about Microsoft is this big conglomerate and how come they make more money than Sony and how come they are third in this race.
Mm-hmm.
When the peasant speaks loud enough, the king hears you. Satya said, well, if it's about competition, let us have competition. The king heard you, dummy.
Mm-hmm.
You poke that bear enough, now it's woke. $1 trillion company, $1 billion company is talking crap and going and spreading false rumors, right? Setting fires, right? This is what they do. This is when you're smaller and you're going up against a larger army, you set off explosives all around camps. You try to form a distraction and you try to show that you're bigger than what you are. Jim went out there, did what he has to do for his company. Got some key figures in his court. One of the key figures that's in his court is the FTC. This is one of the key figures that are in his court because he fell in Rome. Rome has fallen. He fell over there. EU is on the floor. All right, so now this is the last bastion of hope. When I heard that senator or that congressman or that she asked her the question, is it the position of the FTC to support or defend the market leader? She was off balance. It was that level of insight of they are 68% the market leader and had percentages. That means you were well briefed, you were well caught up to speed, you knew exactly where to hit, and you knew how to hit that question. That's $100,000 worth of knowledge right there.
Yep.
Because if I'm $1 trillion company, that envelope that I slid you was no less than that. And the conversation that was had, this is big money, people.
Yep.
The conversation that was had was to, like Asante said, to have this on record. You saying this, because this leads to the next question when they are directly in court and you're going up directly against Microsoft. Oh, well-paid lawyers. That's going to use your own words against you. So when she's giving answers that are like an NPC pre-canned answers, we look to defend this and buddy, the only question that they wanted to answer to was to extract this thing right here from you.
Yep.
Is it the position of the FTC to protect the market leader that has a 68% dominant grip in this market? No, that's the only answer that
You're
they
done.
want.
You may not leave.
King,
That's
it's
the
one
mic
more.
drop. That's the mic
It's
drop.
one more question though, because remember the follow-up to that, which is, wait a minute, who are these unpaid experts that you're getting?
Oh yeah, yeah, I saw all of that. Yes.
Did you disclose those?
This is where you mess with the right person that had the right amount of money. F around and find out.
That's right.
You found out
Yeah,
that poking the bear wasn't a good thing. You
poked the bear, you
found
lost
out
fingers.
by screaming at the king, he does have ears.
Yep.
There's not a PlayStation 6 coming.
He's
It's
on his
not.
square, sir.
I
He is
expect
on
articles
his
from
square.
Reset Era in the morning.
Right?
When-
Please,
when-
sloth
when
this
this
man.
Deal goes through. I want you to go back to Transformers the movie.
Mhm.
The defenses are breached. Let the slaughter begin. That's the moment your childhood died.
Oh no.
Your childhood is about to die.
Oh,
Health is about to die.
Oh, dang.
I can't help but laugh because you're gonna cry if you don't. Oh man.
And they could come for me. You could come for me all you want. This is going to be the longest generation in the history of video games. You thought the last generation with the 360 and the PlayStation 3 was a long generation. This is going to be even longer. It's because of the C-19 virus that
True.
made this longer.
True.
That extended this fight. That gave clarity to the beast. Y'all are destroyed. You think these little acquisitions that you're doing over here with these little studios that you had close to you inside your house is going to save you from what's about to happen? You're already pivoting right now to make yourself palatable for purchase. Not going to be Netflix, because guess what? Sorry to break it to you. Netflix is going to be purchased by Microsoft. All right.
Ooh.
Remember, Microsoft sends their emissaries over the
All
company.
right. They
and-
said the
True.
snipers. It's the Steven
Yeah.
Elop move right there. That's what's happening right now.
I
Yes.
thought Netflix would partner or purchase Sony, and
Yeah.
that would turn Sony into a monster.
Mhm.
After Jason goes over here, Joseph Satin goes over here, that's not going to happen. Microsoft is blocking you into this little corner where you're going to be an app. Sony's not going away, but you're not getting no more hardware. It's over, B. Just saying. Come for me later.
I
I'm wrong, I'm
honestly,
wrong.
I honestly think we cannot go any further than that. I see the CIS is at 78% for completion. That is a wonderful place to leave it. Oh man,
Plus the fact that my
Gentlemen?
camera battery died. So
Oh.
it's a perfect time.
gentlemen, it has been a pleasure. It has been so much fun. It's been an honor having both of you here, having this great conversation. Silent Cypher, first time on the show, right in here. You're in it for the slander, all with that Agent 47 smoothness, sir. Tell the people where else they can find you this week, what you got going on. We will definitely want to have you back as soon as possible, sir.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for having me. It was a blast. King, it's great to get to podcast with you as well. It's always great to see your show. Love your stuff. Everborn, Kay Asante, thank you guys so much for having me in-house today. It was fun. And yeah, as far as where you can find me this coming Wednesday on Xbox International Podcast. Going to be 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I'm sure with everything that's coming up here in the next little bit, this Wednesday is probably going to be a hot one. I'm guessing here the next couple weeks with everything we've got lined up with the end of the decision on ABK and all that stuff, it's going to be fire.
We gonna be having conversations, man. It's gonna be
Yes.
crazy in here. So yes, absolutely. And of course, the returning champion, the king of these gaming streets, Mr. King David OTW. We don't even have to tell people where they can find you. We know where we can find you, man. What you gonna be doing this week? Are we gonna see some more guests? Is it gonna be interesting stuff for episode 301, sir?
Well, first I want to thank you guys for having me on. Silent had a fantastic time today. I was trying to get here on time, so I do apologize for my tardiness, guys. You can find me tonight on Combat Talk with the King, where we have Javante Tank Davis versus King Ryan Garcia in what is to be the floodgates, the opening of the floodgates of the greatest year in boxing in recent history since we had the Four Kings, which was Leonard, Hearns, Hagler, and Hands of Stone. This is going to be something crazy to see. Two young guys in their prime, putting it all on the line. And today is going to be a good day. So come and catch me at Combat Talk with the King, 10 p.m. tonight, where we're going to see that great fight. Sunday, Iron Lords podcast, 1 p.m., where we're going to be episode 301. It won't be an 8-hour episode. Thank God.
My wife ain't gonna get me in trouble next week. Oh,
I'm
thank
still
goodness.
trying to get through that episode.
I watched that whole thing on my phone. The whole thing.
What's crazy is I got to watch these podcasts like 2 or 3 times over during the week. So yeah, I've done like, I don't know, 48 hours of this thing. I want to thank all the 200 plus people that showed up. When we move as a community, we can do different things and we can change different things, and we can definitely get great content out to all the people that are in our great community. And it's a shame that you didn't have 700 people watching. So please share it out. Let your friends see that these guys are doing a hell of a job. And yeah, we will do that 90s talk New York City walk thing.
Oh, bro,
everyone wants to do.
We'll hold you to it because we want to hear that, bro. It's gonna be
that's gonna be behind something that YouTube can take down, because
that's right.
you gotta protect the innocence. Ain't that right, Funk Flex?
On the topic of bringing the community together and moving forward, I'm gonna speed it up because we just started the community showcase. If you're watching here now, there's still like 150 people still watching. Please head over there, watch it. I'm putting the
hit the like button before you go though.
Please hit the like button before you go.
We only have 157 likes. We should have at least 200.
We appreciate y'all. We appreciate y'all for being here. Thank you so much for being here and rocking with us, hitting new heights for us on this show. It is awesome for all the support that you guys give us. Go ahead and go watch the Indie Showcase, man. And when you see myself and Everborn Saga, how about you hit that like button on that show as well? Let them know that we sent y'all. And we will, of course, see and chat and have more slanderous talk next week. Until then, happy gaming for this weekend. Peace, everybody.